What's up, Ada Nation? Welcome to Dapp Central, your home for everything blockchain and crypto. I want to thank you all for joining me for today's Cardano Catalyst live stream marathon. So we're joined by a few different guests here within the Cardano community, some of them being dedicated projects, which you guys have already heard from and are very well familiar with. But we've also got individual contributors here coming up on stage to pitch some of their Project Catalyst proposals. Now, if you guys are not aware about what Catalyst is, it's one of the easiest ways and one of the quickest ways to get funded here within the Cardano community, granted that your proposal provides value and that the majority of the community sees some value within it. So I've got some content already which breaks down how Catalyst works. But if you haven't already registered, it is unfortunately a little too late. However, if you have registered, hopefully this video provides you guys with some value and some potential ideas as to who you could be voting for before voting closes, which I believe that takes place, in the next 6 days or on July 11th. Again, I want to thank you all here for tuning in. This will be a pretty lengthy live stream. Hopefully you guys do find some value out of it. If you do, please make sure to smash that thumbs up here on the way in. It helps to get the stream out to other members within the growing Cardano community, but also helps to reach out to others that aren't within Cardano to really let them know about what we've got going on here and one of the best ways to gain funding within a growing and a thriving ecosystem. Now let's quickly go ahead and just bring up today's panel. This is going to be a huge one here. I see we've already got quite the audience tuning in. We've got Rev asking if Nuvola has been invited. Yes, Raul is backstage. In terms of covering Liquid, I do plan on bringing them up here as well. But if you guys have any questions, if you guys would like to see anybody featured on today's stream, make sure to go ahead and either tag me on Twitter or you could provide the links to this particular stream or my Twitter account to those teams in order for them to get onboarded here. I want to thank everybody here again for tuning in. Let's quickly bring up some of today's guests. We've got David, a huge member and contributor here. He's been very supportive of me here on the channel. Let's see, we've got Nate from Olympus Insights. We've got Chad from the World Mobile community. We've got Greg coming in here from Empowa. We've got Raul. His camera's off right now, but I know that he was just here with us. We've got Daniel Simpson from Metera. We've got Adam from Gero. We've got Sebastian joining us from, I believe, the Andamio platform. And there's even more guests backstage. So there are some limitations here as to how many people I can actually bring up. But just to go ahead and show you guys, we do have quite the audience. Now, we are still waiting on the Charlie 3 team, Juan Chain, and a few others. But again, just want to quickly show you guys the panel as we get ready to dive into some of these interesting proposals. So everybody, I thank you all so much for tuning in here. Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day. I typically would start off with introductions, but there's so many people that the introduction would probably take like 30 minutes on its own. So I just want to just bring you guys up here and say thank you all for making some time here. And let's go ahead and just jump right on in. So for anybody who would like to stay up here, I'm more than happy to keep some of you guys up here, but I could go ahead and definitely drop you guys as we've got main speakers or main presenters speaking and pitching their proposal, Again, as a brief reminder, if you have not already posted your proposal in the private chat, now would be the time to go ahead and do so. That way I can go and actually bring up the proposal when we are discussing things. That said, we're going to kick things off here with Adam from Gero. If anybody wants to stay up or wants to be brought up here or ask questions for Adam, again, let me know. I can go ahead and bring you guys up. If not, I will go ahead and bring you guys down. And again, keep an eye out on that private chat as I go ahead and let you guys know who's going to be coming up next. So to kick things off, we've got Adam from Gero, followed by Nate, who will be representing the Australian community and Olympus Insights. And then from there, again, keep an eye out on that private chat as I'll be preparing and giving you guys a heads up. So if anybody wants to stay up, now is the time to mention that. If not, I'll go ahead and bring everybody down except for Adam from Gero. All right. So sounds like everybody's cool to be brought down. You guys are more than welcome to enjoy the show from the back of the studio. Again, keep an eye on that private chat and leave any questions or comments that you guys have over there. All right, Adam, we meet again, man.
Yeah,
it's been a crazy ride. We've connected through Infinity Pools. You're now working very closely, very heavily with the Gero Wallet team. For anybody who's not aware of Gero Wallet, I'll pull up the official website here in just a brief minute. But I'd love to maybe get a quick introduction to yourself, what Gero Wallet is, as we get ready to kick off the marathon. And then I believe you guys have 2 proposals. So go ahead and just jump right on in, man.
Yeah, so I'm Adam. I'm currently leading Gero Wallet. I've been in the community for 3 years, and Gero Wallet is basically a user-friendly wallet, a light wallet that has a lot of emphasis on providing accessibility basically to the Web3 world. We are currently rebuilding the wallet, and it's going to be released soon on Apex Fusion, and then we're going to release the new wallet on Cardano as well. So yeah, very happy to be here and introduce the proposals.
Thank you. Yeah, let's just jump right on in. I mean, you've mentioned these to me in times past, and I think that they provide a lot of value, and I think the community will find them helpful as well.
Yeah, so I'll start with the what we call ADA flow, which is a sort of an intuitive transaction and insights visualization tool. So basically, both of our proposals are kind of in the theme of trying to reduce the friction when it comes to colliding the worlds of Web 2 and Web 3. So with this one in particular, around the globe, I think that institutions, they gradually coming to terms, let's call it, with the permanence of crypto, and taking your ADA or any other crypto out to real institutions is always involved with some scrutiny and stuff like that. And sometimes you also need some third party person or a company to help you actually get that going. Essentially, it's adding a lot of complexity, and it's not very intuitive. As the UTXO model is extremely powerful model, it's also a very complex one, and actually proving basically that your funds are, let's call them, clear from all the sorts of activities that institutions don't really want to get involved with. And in general, I think crypto got this tainted name of being involved in frauds and rug pulls and stuff like that, even though it's really the minority, and the majority of people, they're here to build or to invest, basically. So what we want to do with ADA Flow is it's a tool that's designed to basically bring clarity to the UTXO model, aiding both the investors and the institutions in understanding the transaction flow within wallets, and also providing actionable insights. So the unique thing about this proposal is basically the insights part. So we are going to work in collaboration with Cerberus and our own tool that we built, Cardano Shield from Fund 10. And essentially, when you look for a wallet or a transaction, you'll be able to basically find, with a click of a button, anything within the UTXO flow. Basically, that's why it's called ADA Flow, that would help you find if there's anything fishy, let's call it like that, that is related to your wallet. So basically, if you haven't been involved in any fraudulent activities and stuff like that, this is a tool that would help prove that, essentially. So it's kind of going to turn Cardano into the safest blockchain, if this will be something that will be broadly utilized. And it's also supposed to be a wallet tool. So it's not something that's going to be unique to Gero wallet. The point is to make this an open source project that any wallet will be able to integrate. I know Cerberus are building their protocol called Siren. It's also supposed to be free to use. So essentially, it's not something that is going to be unique to Gero wallet. We want to build something to truly basically empower Cardano and help both institutions gain more confidence in Cardano. This, what you're showing right now is basically just a proof of concept that we created, where you'll be able to. This one doesn't include anything related to security, but essentially you'll be able to look at a transaction, and you'll be able to look at the flow, essentially, of that UTXO and the wallet. What Siren will do from Cerberus, they will provide everything related to the risk assessment from wallets that are basically have been involved in fraudulent activities and rug pulls and stuff like that. So imagine, let's say you want to extract, you want to exchange, $20,000. You want to put them in your bank. You want to buy something, and you won't. It's not very simple to do that. You can't simply send that money to the bank. In most countries that I'm familiar with, you'll need to go through an exchange, first of all, most of the time again. And essentially the bank will start asking questions, where this money is coming from, etc. I think it's naive to think that Web 2 and Web 3 are going to remain completely disconnected. I'm betting more that as time goes on, Web 2, Web 3 are going to be connected somehow. They're going to be governed somehow. Someone's going to oversee things from above. It's okay to keep, again, if you want to be your own bank, your own assets, that's essentially the fundamentals of crypto. But we need to provide tools basically for both institutions to have more trust in the blockchain, and also for users to easily be able to prove essentially that their money is clean. So that's one of the proposals.
Can I stop you there very, very quickly here? And I'll give you the remaining time that you've got to go. I love, number one, that proof of concept. As you're explaining it, when I saw it, it made everything literally so much clearer to understand. Now, I know we've got Jake Tuzinski, who's actually a police officer. He's backstage right now. Jake, if you can maybe give me a thumbs up if you want me to bring you up, I can quickly do that. But I'd love to maybe have Jake weigh in as well, because from a police standpoint, this is huge for forensics, right? So I've had him on for like a 45-minute interview where we've talked about how something like this could provide so much value. And even Seth Shepard agrees here, right? Institutions and countries would love a feature like Adaflow. So Jake, no pressure if you want to come up. I'm more than happy to bring you up, or we can also discuss Adaflow when it's your time to present as well. That said, yeah, let's get you back here for your second proposal. Let's see here. Oh, hold on. Jake said he is okay with me bringing him up.
Okay,
let me just bring him up very quickly. All right.
Yeah, Jake. No, thanks, Reed. Adam, that sounds absolutely awesome. And I was kind of chomping at the bit, kind of Word document up, taking notes on what you were saying, because I think that is such a key aspect to, one, mass adoption for any cryptocurrency, and Cardano especially. So I absolutely love it. I'd love to talk more about it offline. So it's awesome.
Yeah, awesome. Man, totally. Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll bring you back down, Jake. But this is what it's all about, right? Again, getting some weigh-in from other members within the community, and then providing some value. So over to you, Adam, as we give you an opportunity to pitch your second proposal.
Thank you. Yes. So the second one is basically an in-wallet subscription service, and with this one, again, it's in the theme of reducing friction overall. And I know that not everyone likes and favors the subscription model, but just like in gaming, a lot of gamers don't like microtransactions and free-to-play games with pay-to-win. But unfortunately, money talks otherwise, and it's a good business model for a lot of service providers, and it's pretty convenient for users as well. Even though it sometimes sells some sort of an illusion, it's something that is very convenient, right? You subscribe to something, you forget about it, and whenever you want, you basically just unsubscribe. With this one in particular, it's not something that wasn't attempted before. I think the main difference in this proposal that is unique is that it's an in-wallet, let's call it function within the wallet, where there will be two ways to go about this. Either you do a smart contract, let's say something costs $10 a month. You're going to pay a year in advance. You're going to lock in $120 into some smart contract that's going to be staked somewhere. It's going to earn stake rewards if there will be 1 million ADA in it. Not very likely. But you still lock all of the money in advance. But you can simulate something, right? The workaround that crypto did in the last couple of years is using NFTs basically to gain access to certain features. With this one, what we will try to do here, and it's pretty boldy, and not everyone will agree that it's a good approach. We will do the first approach that I just mentioned because it's extremely safe. And also, we would like to build some sort of functionality in the wallet where users will allow the wallet to sign essentially a transaction every month on their behalf. And that way, it will work similar to how a credit card or a bank basically works, where you just use the card, you pay credit every month, and that's it. In general, the idea for allowing for a subscription model to even be something on Cardano, it's coming from a place where we want to resolve an issue by enabling users, right, to authorize the wallets to manage subscriptions for them. It's not something that happens. A lot of people will disagree that that's a good approach, but I think convenience will probably win on this fight in particular. And what we believe this will allow is for both service providers to build on Cardano. So imagine a service provider that their whole business model is a subscription model. It's not easy for them to then jump on crypto. I think it's something that is very prominent. They use workarounds to try to go around that. So they do an NFT project, they do whitelists, they do stuff like that. But NFT projects, the NFT price fluctuates. Like, it's not something that is sustainable. We feel this as a wallet as well. We want to be a legitimate business, and we don't have something where we can bank on a certain amount of money, right, that we can generate every month because price fluctuates so much. So with the subscription model, you basically will be able to allow users to have the convenience to subscribe to some services, but also, again, from outside, allow to service providers, if they will know, they can continue with their business model on a blockchain. I suspect it will bring people to the blockchain with less hesitation when it comes to the business model involved. So that's essentially the second one. So it's in the same theme, trying to do things that are a little bit disruptive, not very crypto fundamentalist. But again, we know these two should reduce friction as long as we will be able to pull them off.
Yeah, and what I like about this one is we're in the right ecosystem with smart contracts to hopefully allow for you to do this in a safe, secure, and transparent manner. So again, I'm definitely backing both of the Gero proposal or Gero wallet proposals, but I'm really, really, really excited about that ADA flow, man. So I'm pushing that one. I've left the links to both of those proposals in the live chat here for the community. If you guys have any questions for Adam, you should be able to monitor the live replay or the live chat there on the right-hand side, and feel free to go ahead and answer any of those. But at this time, Adam, if you have any closing thoughts, this would be the time to share that with the community as we get ready to bring up Nate here from Olympus Insights.
Yeah, just something not really relevant to this one, but there will be some announcement about the staking, the Gero NFT staking coming out in a few, I want to say 30, 40 minutes. Very excited about that. But yeah, other than that, thank you so much for giving me the time to talk about the proposals.
You're welcome.
I'll be around.
There's one quick question coming in here from Cardano with Paul. Paul, I appreciate you so much here for tuning in. If you guys are not already following Paul on YouTube and on Twitter, he provides a lot of really great Cardano-based content. So make sure to go ahead and give him a follow. But Paul asking, subs is definitely missing, or subscription services are definitely missing. Does the wallet have control of all the funds in the wallet, or just a portion of them?
So no. So it will always be in relation to the thing you want to subscribe to. So in general, you probably know that wallets don't have control over everything, right? It's all handled by a private key that the user has, and we don't actually have access to any funds. The funds they live, quote unquote, on the blockchain. We will make some mechanism where the user will be able to basically sort of like let's call it load a prepaid card. Let's call it like that, just for the simplicity of things. So it'll be something like that. They will be able to give us control over a subset of funds, and then the subscription thing, it will know when to execute, essentially. So it's not going to be locked anywhere. It will remain in the wallet. That's the whole point. We don't want to lock it anywhere else. But we will also provide a way where users will be able to lock it if they want in a smart contract. There will be incentives basically for both ways.
Perfect. Thank you for answering that again. Adam, I'm going to go ahead and bring you down. I want to thank you so much for your time. Seth Shepard, finding Paul here and subbing. So this is, again, what it's all about, growing the community, giving people a voice. And if you guys want more information, make sure to join the Gero community. I believe they've got a Twitter, Discord, and Telegram as well. You can get quick access to Adam. Again, ladies and gentlemen, make sure to go ahead and support Adam at this time. Your bid is over. Thank you for being the first guinea pig here for today's live stream. Take care for now. Cheers.
Thank you so much. Good luck to everyone.
Thank you. All right, next we've got Nate from Olympus Insights. Again, for everybody who's backstage, once you are wrapped up with your presentation, you are more than welcome to go ahead and drop off. For anybody who's just tuning in here, we've got Nuvola backstage. We've got Kristen. We've got Chad from the BBA Pool, I believe. We've also got David. We've got Charlie3, which will be joining us. We've also got One Chain, Smart Places, Yepple, just to name a few here. So we will be live streaming here for quite a bit. Hopefully you guys are finding some value out of this. If so, please make sure to give us that thumbs up and make sure to go ahead and share. And again, Paul, I appreciate you tuning in here. I'd maybe love to coordinate sort of a another marathon, right, for the future funding rounds, where maybe you and I can coast and go for a little bit longer and give people an opportunity to talk about their catalyst proposals. That said, let's go ahead and bring up Nate here from Olympus Insights. Nate, welcome up. For anybody who isn't familiar with Nate, he's a builder in the ecosystem, also a school teacher, but he's developing a product right through Olympus Insights that aims to educate and onboard people into Cardano. So Nate, if we could get a brief bit about yourself, what Olympus Insights is, and then we'll jump straight into your proposals.
Yeah, awesome. Good morning, and thank you for having me. Hopefully my connection's coming through nice and clear. I'm currently overseas. I've been away for my friend's wedding. I'm probably one of a few people that would go to a tropical island for a wedding and get a cold and have a runny nose and things like that. So I don't know how I've
Worst
managed
possible
that.
timing.
But,
you look good. You
yeah.
look good for a man who's sick. You look good.
Thank you. It's just gone past midnight as well. Just so sitting outside on the balcony. So hopefully I don't wake up the wife and the baby. But yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm very, very happy and excited to be here. So Olympus Insights, we're building an education platform. Our goal is to onboard 100,000 people within the next 2 years. And through our proposals, you're going to be able to see why that's not just a very attainable number, but why that's possibly even conservative. So our mission is to empower people around the world to embark on a journey of lifelong learning, unlock their full potential, and take control of their financial future. So yeah, thank you for sharing our website on the screen. Anyone that did check out our video with Fareed earlier would have been able to get a bit of a sneak peek of what the platform looks like. So no, I'm very excited to share what we're building.
Yeah, go for it. And again, I'll leave the links to your proposals in the chat box here for anybody who's watching live right now.
Yeah, thank you. And Seth, if you manage to make it across to Australia, then hit me up and we'll grab a beer. I just love from the live chat. So yeah, we've got 3 proposals in at the moment. The first one I'll talk about is around our ambassador program that we're running. So a big part of our method for onboarding users to our platform and to Cardano, which I'll tell you a bit more about shortly, is our ambassador program. So our ambassadors are people, it's essentially an on-the-ground marketing team. We're going to be launching the ambassador program in Nigeria very soon after. We're going to Kenya, Gambia, and Ghana. And a few other countries throughout Africa that we're building relationships with. And these people will be going out and helping to onboard users to our platform. And anyone that is actually onboarded to our platform is directly onboarded onto Cardano, because when they have a wallet, a account created for them on the platform, they automatically have a wallet created for them as well. So when we have our ambassadors, each country will have a country manager, and we'll have 5 ambassadors working with them. Each of them will have an onboarding target of 100 new users to the platform per month, as well as a range of other KPIs and events that we're going to hope to have them organizing to assist with their onboarding process and get more people learning and being empowered. So with our platform, the public model is called has a learn to earn base. So people are going to be getting empowered with education, but also financial opportunity. So this is where we're very excited, and one of the big reasons that we're targeting our rollout into African countries, where we know we can make a significant difference by putting like financial opportunity. Every time someone completes a lesson, they're going to get paid in our Oli token, which obviously is backed by ADA. So we can help them to basically increase their income, increase their livelihood, and things like that. So our ambassador management system is going to be a back-end development. So this is all about giving the ambassadors a place on our platform where they can come log in, they can see what they need to do, they can engage with each other, they can do their own private training, and have that complete system in front of them. So this isn't something that would be front-facing to the public. This would be specifically for our ambassadors. And yeah, so essentially through that ambassador program, every country that we have the ambassadors in will be onboarding 600 new users to our platform and to Cardano each month, giving us a minimum of 7,000 per year, assuming they're all hitting their target. And yeah, we're talking about having 4 or 5 countries up and running by the end of the year. And you can see very quickly how if everyone's achieving those goals, we're going to be very easily achieving the onboarding targets that we're setting.
Perfect, perfect. If you want to jump into the second and the third proposals, I'd love to hear a little bit more about those.
Yeah, thank you. So the second proposal I'll talk about is around our gamification. So we want the education platform to be not only highly informative, not only providing financial opportunity, but we want it to be addictive in all the best kind of ways. So we're building a whole bunch of different mechanisms using game theory, Skinner's box, and a variety of other things into the platform to ensure that users are not only getting the knowledge that they need, but they're having intrinsic and extrinsic motivational factors that are constantly triggering them to want to engage in more learning. So on a base level, you can look at things like the learn to earn. You complete a lesson and then you're going to go ahead and get paid for it. But then having different gamification aspects in that to make it more fun, to randomize bonus increase amounts and things like this, to ensure that people have increased desire to be able to get involved with what we're doing. And we've also got a few different gamification aspects around this, people engaging with the platform, referring their friends, where people that are active on the platform are going to be able to earn quite substantial rewards. We're talking about distributing over 500 USD per month to people in random rewards using the different game mechanisms that we're building in, on top of their learn to earn that they're going to be getting for every single lesson.
Perfect. Mm-hmm.
The third proposal is the wallet integration proposal. So very excited and proud to Tokyo wallet. So shout out to Gero, Shaz, Magic Flow, and the rest of the team. They've just launched their wallet, so super excited for them. Was very privileged to be a beta tester for that. So with Tokyo, we're building in a system. So every time someone creates an account on our Ollie education platform, they will automatically have a Cardano native wallet created for them. Now, this is obviously going to be, initially will be kind of like a centralized exchange wallet, I guess, in the sense that they will have to get their private keys like down the track and take custody of that wallet. But even if they choose not to do that, they can essentially operate with it as a centralized exchange wallet. So they can be earning their Ollie tokens from their learning. And then once they've accumulated a certain amount, they may choose to move it into their own self-custody wallet. So obviously lessons that we're going to be pushing towards new users early, especially when people identify in their goals that they're a new user to Cardano, is that we'll be sending, promoting lessons around like why you need to have a self-sovereign wallet, why you need to take control of your funds, why you shouldn't leave all your funds on a centralized exchange. And similar to that, the centralized wallet, why, even though this wallet's created for you, it's perfectly safe and secure, why it's beneficial for you to create another wallet that can be your, essentially like your own bank, and you can be sending all of your funds there until such a time that you
Looks like we might be having some internet connectivity issues here with Nate. We'll give him a second here. If he's not able to reconnect, unfortunately, we will have to move on. I did leave the links to all 3 of his proposals down below in the live chat here for anybody who wants to go ahead and check them out. We do have a fully dedicated interview where I've brought him and Stock Trade, his fellow co-founder, on the channel to discuss the Olympus Insights platform. And what I personally enjoy about this platform is that it's targeting education, right? So for me as a YouTube creator, I definitely get behind education, and hopefully you guys again are finding things like this particular stream to be educational and informative. But again, it's a really great opportunity for us to kind of spread the word about Cardano while also onboarding people into the ecosystem. And then as he was explaining with Tokyo Wallet, they're actually going to be a multi-chain wallet, right? So what that means is that as people are onboarding to Cardano, they're also getting exposure into other ecosystems as well. Unfortunately, we did lose Nate. However, I do see Damon who's dancing. If I bring him on stage, let's see if he continues to dance here. But we're going to be talking about Charlie 3, and he's continuing to dance. So Damon, Wonderful, wonderful timing here. Let's talk about C3, the first ever Oracle here that was presented on Cardano. I know you've got a few proposals, and then we're going to jump backstage. We're going to go ahead and bring up a few community members here. But before we do that, Damon, over to you.
3 proposals, and we'll talk about them all and some other extra kind of alpha, I guess, that we haven't really shared much. So let's get into it.
Perfect. I'm listening.
Awesome. Okay, well, I'm going to try and go worst to best as far as proposals go. So our first one, because why not Fund 12 for Charlie 3? There is. I don't know. That's what we're talking about right now, man.
Yeah.
First proposal is because we've seen quite a bit, and I think Fareed, you'll agree. We talked about this a fair amount in Texas, that there is kind of a lack of understanding of what oracles do and what they are and why they're needed, especially for security and onboarding new people like TradFi and legacy type industries for regulation purposes. We really want to just educate a little bit more. So we have one up for a masterclass on oracles. Now, this isn't a masterclass of Charlie 3. This is a masterclass for oracles in general. And we're going to bring on other people from different oracle providers. So people like Chainlink, Band, Pith, Teller, probably Peter from OrcFacts, just to talk in general. This is a general masterclass on oracles and the use case and necessity for them. It is not shilling our own platform whatsoever. It's just why you use oracles and why it should be in everybody's book of DD when you're looking into a new protocol and what are they using, what kind of security measures do they have, and oracles is part of that. So that's the first one.
Very quick question.
Okay.
Will that be a paid class, and where will it be?
Oh no, that's open, free, whatever, for whoever wants. We'll just make the videos and toss them out there, probably on our YouTube or something, and people can watch, and that's it. So we'll probably spread that around with like the foundation and other people, just to make sure that it gets some exposure to it. So that's kind of what we're doing on that one. The next one is a verified coupon and discount code type thing. So this is a real world asset type situation. And awesome, Seth. Yes, they are fantastic. So the next one is a kind of real world asset situation in e-commerce. And this is a co-proposal with another company called Verilidity, who does a lot of e-commerce platforms through platforms called through Magento and what's the other one? Oh, Adobe Commerce in general. So what we're doing with them is to allow, yeah, that's the one. There you go. Woo-woo. We're going to try and make something that is an online platform for businesses to put up their like discount codes and coupons and stuff like that for their businesses, that is verified through NFTs with having like stop codes in them and all the details for the discounts and where to go and everything. Because right now we've seen a problem and talked to some store owners and stuff that they have an issue with their discount codes going out and these other things like Honey and other platforms picking them up, but they never actually get rid of them afterwards. And so it brings in negative attention to their platform, because it will actually bring people in by thinking that they have an active coupon code or something to use, or discount code. And then it's expired. And so they look at the site, but then they don't, because it actually negates a lot of their sales, because these people are bummed out that their discount code doesn't actually work. So this would be an open platform for people to put up their discount codes and get it verified on chain through an NFT, through the dynamic NFT through an Oracle. And then all of the information is there. And then once they expire or the store owner pulls them off, those things are burnt and deleted and not available anymore. So it keeps it up to date. And so that rolls through a lot more sales and active engagement for the companies that are using them. So that's a kind of a novel use case that we figured out. And with Verilidity, they're very, very smart people over there to actually build those e-commerce platform things. So that's number 2. Any questions on that one, Fareed, or are we good?
I'm good. What I was just going to mention was I think the importance of integrating with things that are outside the ecosystem, right? So there's been a lot of talk, and there's been other proposals dealing with like widgets or ways to pay or accept for payment, for traditional things using ADA or using even Cardano native assets. I think it's a really, really big piece. And there's obviously a lot of liquidity outside, right? And people that want to purchase stuff, but maybe they don't want to actually pay with crypto, right? So I think
Yeah.
talking to people like Verility, integrating different solutions, especially from an Oracle perspective, I think provides a lot of value. And I think it's a corner of like the space that hasn't really been explored.
Yeah, absolutely. And the big thing with them is they're already attached to some e-commerce brands, and they do have it as like ADA payments and stuff too. So you can go and pay in, I mean, my point is it's using ADA payments, or it's using Charlie 3 tokens, or whatever you want to have it set up for. Their platform on Verility already has that integrated. It has our Oracle feeds integrated for the price differences as well. So shop owners can set whatever they want the payment to be in, and even if it's not in like ADA or whatever, they have that automatic transfer within their system as well. So you can go and pay in dollars, whatever, but it's actually going to be using ADA or C3 or whatever on the back end to make your purchase. But the store owner will accept that because it's so easy. I mean, this is another big thing, and people go, "Oh, discount coupon codes. What kind of business is that?" A multi-billion-dollar one currently. So it's actually quite a large sector that we're trying to look at. And everybody uses them. I use discount codes. I'm sure you do. Everybody searches for them all the time. There's multiple platforms just because of it. So we want to make it easier and cooler and bring in that outside volume onto Cardano or blockchain in general. So
yeah,
that's number 2.
Perfect.
Wonderful. Number 3 is definitely far more us focused and blockchain and Cardano expansion. And this is working with IOG and the development group called TX Pipe for doing a partner chain, a side chain for Cardano. So it's not just an L2, it's using IOG's new partner chain infrastructure or framework. And this would make our whole network a lot more decentralized, a lot more use case for the token. This would be built on a language called Substrate, and then using ZK Fold or ZK Mina. So pulling in zero knowledge proofs into the sidechain as well to manage the Oracle system. So we don't have to have the validators as heavy as they are currently. It's the easiest way I'll put that. And this has a lot of better use cases. One, it can be a lot more interchain, cross-chain ease of integration. So it can bring Cardano oracles as well as Cardano infrastructure and security to other chains to be able to use that easily. That also then brings in more people to the Cardano ecosystem and framework, because if we're going to do that multi-chain, they can come through our partner chain, which is still technically running on the Cardano infrastructure and economy. It lets our token get used for all of the gas and transaction fees over there. It makes things a lot cheaper because we can set that. We're not bound to the transaction fees on Cardano. So more use case for the C3 token and C3 holders. The node network can be a lot bigger because the memory limitations will be different. We can build in different things like random selector mechanisms. So that would also be a big, for the nodes, so that means we can have a much larger node network again on top of that. I don't know if I said it would be a lot cheaper. Yeah, I probably did. So a lot cheaper and a lot faster. We can get to, sub-second updates on chain if necessary. So obviously we're not going to be pushing data that much. Or even pulling data that much from different places. But it's that if something needs it in the moment right now, we need an update, that can happen like super quick. Now putting that on to Cardano mainnet, Cardano Ledger, we can't overcome the 20-second block timing that's there. But the thing is we can get that data a lot faster and have it on a record on the sidechain and have it used in the protocol. It's just, it'll take that next block on Cardano to actually record what happened. So just because I'm saying we're getting data a lot faster doesn't mean anything else. So we're working, like I said, with IOG and TX Pipe to build that one out. So we already have the initial report that I think will come out soonish for what the idea is for building it is. That was from the last Catalyst round. It was just a research grant, basically. And then now it's the next stage of actually trying to get into building a POC.
Yeah, you mentioned you addressing these in like a certain order early on, and there was actually a pretty funny comment about the worst, quote unquote. But I think that those are all really, really solid. I really like the very last one that you mentioned about the sidechain and the implementation of like the partner chain framework. I think you guys will be pioneers in that sense, and we've already
we'll be the
obviously
first
seen.
ones.
Yeah, I was going to say we're obviously seeing Midnight being built out, by IOG. But as soon as I think that's done and people have kind of gone through that process and we've got like the first partner chains up, it's going to be, a free for all. Whoever is able to build their own partner chain, get it up as quickly as possible. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of benefits, just like there are to being an early adopter into Cardano, operating a stake pool, etc. You're able to really set the trend and use technology that the rest of the ecosystem hasn't gotten access to yet.
Yeah. And just going back on the last proposal we talked about, I mean, the big factor for this side chain and the partner chain is actually for onboarding, outside businesses and stuff onto Cardano, because it'll be a lot easier, faster, cheaper, a lot more. All of the records will be there in one spot instead of having to jump to different places. That's a huge deal for their regulation and all that. That's probably coming up soon, for regulating real things. And that's why a lot of real world businesses don't jump in. I mean, we're in a really unique spot, I guess, as an Oracle, where we have that interoperability with that outside world. That's kind of our purpose. And so we talk to a lot of these businesses, and their main reason for not jumping into using crypto is because of that. There's zero regulation. They can't see that it's trusted, but that's our whole business, is a big trusted platform. So I know there's other people you got to bring up, so I'll just say my last little chunk of stuff. I don't know how many listeners we got, but anyway, we will be one of our biggest points of contention. I will say, oh yes, there's a new portal there. You can see all of our product offerings. Go check that one out, guys. There's also a little forum. We launched the Clarity DAO, our DAO on Clarity. So if people want to go there and vote, if you have C3 tokens, that would be awesome, because we need that for more Catalyst funding too. It's about the next feeds we're going to launch with Catalyst funds. So please go vote on that. But the last thing was we will have an upcoming node sale soon. So up until recently, or up until like now, I guess, all of our nodes identities have been hidden, basically, mainly just for security. So the identities of current nodes will come out, and then we'll have an extra node sale because we're going to expand that network now that we have a little bit more security in our platform, and that'll be after the hard fork updates and everything, because we have to change the node architecture with the new updates. So there's no point in bringing people on right now, but that'll be good if you guys want to come in, run a Charlie 3 node. We'll have parameters out soon, so jump into the Discord and other things, and that's good. That's our main way of being able to interact with you guys as a backend B2B or B2B situation. So it'd be really good to have more community involved in getting rewards sent out to people. The early rewards for node operators, which I know I've talked to you about, Fareed, will be quite nice. As the network expands, they go down a little bit, as you might imagine. It gets spread more thinly, but we're going to keep it low so the rewards make sense for everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've got Damon here representing the Charlie 3 team. If you guys want to find out more about Charlie 3, I'll go ahead and leave the link to the official website down below as a part of the chat box here, or the live chat. Again, make sure to follow them on X, join their Discord. They do have a YouTube channel, and Damon's pretty accessible, right? So if you guys have any questions, want to operate a node, you've got Damon here, and I'm sure that he'll be more than happy to go ahead and help you out there. And I just want to close out by quickly plugging in that dev portal as well. If you guys want to stay up to date in terms of just token prices, seeing exactly how that data is being fed on chain. For me specifically, I've been using it a lot for the USDM reserves. Definitely make sure to go ahead and check that out. Damon, I look forward to seeing you in Vegas. Again, thank you for jumping up here, and For now, sayonara. Enjoy the rest of your week, man.
Bye-bye.
Cheers. All right. For anybody who's just tuning in here, definitely do appreciate you. We've got Ryan Davies with a nice little super chat here. I definitely appreciate that, Ryan. You've been a huge supporter here. I look forward to meeting you in Dubai for the Cardano Summit coming up this year. That said, again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for tuning into today's live stream. This is the Catalyst Marathon space where we're talking with all of the builders within the ecosystem. Next, we're going to be chatting a little bit with Jay Tuzinski, a police officer from Minneapolis. And then following that, we're going to go ahead and bring up, let me just make sure I've got the right lineup here. That'll be Raul de Benedettis from Nuvola Digital, followed by Kristen Bowman. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, as well as Scott to discuss their proposals here as well. If you guys are chatting with any other teams, I would love to get up here. As the studio clears out, I'm more than happy to go ahead and bring them up. So again, if you guys are finding this to be valuable, please make sure to go ahead and share the stream out, and make sure to go ahead and smash that like button. It's one of the easiest and one of the free ways to support me here as a content creator. That said, let's go ahead and bring up the next guest, which is Jake Tuzinski. Jake, welcome up, man. How are you?
Hey, Freed. I'm great. I'm really good.
Happy to have you here. Maybe we can just kind of kick things off with a little bit of background about yourself.
Sure.
I know I've had you on the channel for an interview, and then I'd love to hear about what you're doing from a proposal standpoint to keep not just the Cardano community safe, right, but just the general population safe when it comes to fraud and manipulation.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I blurred my background this time so I don't get flamed about my dirty office. I got 3 young kids, so they usually keep it pretty a mess. But yeah, like you mentioned, I've been a cop for about 12 years or so in the Minneapolis area, not actually with Minneapolis Police Department, but just a suburb of Minneapolis is just the easiest kind of landing point. And kind of how I got started in this, I've been in crypto personally for about 7 years or so. And I just noticed through my day job that we really saw a huge uptick in scams involving cryptocurrency. And there was not a lot being done about it from the local law enforcement side. And there's really not a lot being done about it from the federal law enforcement side, unless you are, a big one, an FTX or, something pretty salacious like Razzlecon or something crazy. And so I just saw this huge need and a lack of education and disruption in a lot of these scams. And Fareed, after we talked last time, you kind of mentioned about this Catalyst proposal, and it was kind of the perfect timing to try to put something together and just kind of showcase what we can do as local law enforcement officers, as community members for you guys, and also community, like in real life communities. That's really where it comes in. So I guess I'd like to just kind of focus my whole proposal pitch around kind of 3 main keys of how it's going to support adoption, how we can educate people, and how we can really disrupt these scams, and then also to why I even choose Cardano in the first place. So I fundamentally believe, like after hearing everybody else before me talk, and I'm sure everybody else after me will talk, adoption is the #1 focus in cryptocurrency as a whole. Everybody wants to onboard people. Everybody wants to get people involved. And I believe it is with unequivocally the future. It will happen. However, if that is going to be the case, I fundamentally believe it will only come when there is some recourse for the human error, the human naiveties that come into play, and there is some kind of other safety or security measures in place. You really can't outcode human behavior, which is really how a lot of these scams get facilitated. It's by people being duped. So that's kind of my piece on adoption. I really believe we won't have that true full-on mass onboarding adoption until people do feel confident and secure that if something does happen, if they do get scammed, there is some kind of recourse for actions. It's not always going to turn out to be a happy ending story, but at least something, right? Like any other scam that gets investigated, it should have its due diligence done on it. Kind of piecing into that with the educational piece of it, a lot of these scams, and I'm kind of talking from a North American standpoint, at least being in the US, a lot of our scams are facilitated against very targeted communities. One, the elderly, and also two, we have a high immigrant population within Brooklyn Park, which is the city I work in, sorry. So kind of with that, the elderly folks, you would never guess that they're into crypto or they're buying crypto or using it whatsoever. They're not into crypto, but they are, our retirees. They're the generation that came before us. they're going to banks, they're getting scammed, they're withdrawing their cash, and they're putting them into Bitcoin ATMs, and they're losing their money. And law enforcement kind of as a whole is saying like, nothing we can do about it. They're either closing them out as civil, or they're just closing them out because they don't know how to investigate them, to be frank. I think that's totally unacceptable. So a lot of the educational pieces that my project really plans to focus on, one is around the senior community, getting out to senior targeted groups to educate them about scams, how they perpetuate, that there is no reason why you should ever be using a Bitcoin ATM. It seems super obvious and super simple, but they're still doing it, and it's still happening. And I had an email rolling yesterday from our investigation division where somebody lost $10,000 through the same thing, Bitcoin ATM scam, an elderly phishing email attack. So it's not always within the crypto community that these things are happening. It's not just NFT rug pulls or scam projects or crazy token launches. It is our everyday, otherwise family members who aren't in crypto. And I think that's kind of incumbent upon all of us who are in crypto, who are more so in the know, members to educate those within our actual communities. To kind of build on that, also then, targeting law enforcement too is we got to get some kind of basic training, some education, so that we can, one, help these people when these scams happen, and then also two, they can ultimately become our ambassadors at community events, meetings, various other groups that we kind of host and launch through it as law enforcement officers kind of throughout the country, and really get out there and focus on how do we actually have this method of recovery? Is there a method to recovery? How do we go about it? The judicial process, all that. I'm always kind of cautious to bring up like law enforcement involvement. I know there's always a lot of tension between, I would say, just like government intervention as a whole and the cryptocurrency space. It's kind of like, the core ethos of crypto originally was to break away from government control. But again, I think we're kind of past that point, and we've crossed that Rubicon with crypto, where government's going to be involved. There's going to be regulations. There's not going to be just a complete free-for-all. So we might as well get on the front end and actually learn how to investigate it to prevent scams, so we can actually achieve all of our goals of making the world a better place, making projects, making people better, happier, more fulfilled in their lives through Web3 or crypto, whatever the mean may be. And we just have to be able to guide people in response to scams and frauds and the like. Might be kind of hard to believe, but government systems kind of as a whole are a little bit broken. One of the biggest issues with law enforcement, both at a local standpoint and a federal standpoint, is deconfliction is almost non-existent. So I might get a scam in my city, and 2 suburbs over, there's another scam victim who has a similar MOs. Maybe they sent to the same crypto wallet, but we'll likely never talk because there is no central reporting system. There is no repository where I can look up to see this other scam system. There's a couple out there. Like the FBI has one called IC3 for internet scam complaints, essentially, but it's really not versed for cryptocurrency. It's more for like your gift card scams, the generic Prince of Nigeria type scams, things like that. So having the ability to actually build out a deconfliction tool where everybody can input suspect information, suspect addresses, we can get things blacklisted from exchanges, and really start tracing these flow of funds and tracing these bad actors out to root them out. Because I think Adam from Gero Wallet mentioned it. There's kind of a propensity to say like all crypto's a scam, or it's nothing but frauds and rug pulls. And I've certainly heard the same from, just anecdotally from colleagues or people in the community, people who get scammed or people who invest in things like, just to use anecdotally, like the Doge run up of the last cycle. People who invest and then lose their money, or people who get scammed and feel wrong-footed or slighted in a sense, have a lot more tendency to not want to come back into any of the ecosystems. And if we're able to educate people, we're able to, if they are victims of scams or frauds, and we're able to recover their funds or show that there are safeguards, that it's not just this scary Wild West place, that it can be trusted. You have a method to basically recover funds if you lose them. I think that's absolutely critical for adoption in our space. So that's really, my project is really focusing on education, training, and also like kind of a deconfliction piece where we can kind of start having a central repository of known scammers, known scam activity, and be able to really go after go after these scammers and start having some recourse.
Wonderfully said. From a timing perspective, really good summary and recap of what you've put out for the Catalyst proposal. Again, I think security is a no-brainer for me, right? And so you mentioned Adam from Gero Wallet, who was the first presenter for today. They've actually deployed Cardano Shield, which I see is actually mentioned in your proposal. For anybody who just isn't aware, Cardano Shield helps you to verify a transaction before you actually place it, right? So helps you to identify how secure or how malicious a particular address or token that you're trading or planning to send or receive is before you do that. So again, I think from a security standpoint, something like the Cardano Shield, which was actually funded through Catalyst, right, is a great addition to your proposal as well. And just for the ladies and gentlemen who are watching, today's stream, understand that Jake actually teaches a few courses already when it comes to fraud, manipulation, and cryptocurrency. So I really want to plug in that first interview that you and I did here on the channel. For anybody who wants to find out more, I mean, he talks about the different methods, investigations, what to do if you're ever scammed. And I think that in the space, scams aren't going away, right? So a proposal that's aiming to basically allow for, actual people that can do something about the scams to do something about them, like we should go ahead and fund those as quickly and to get things like this in place as fast as possible. From a smart contract perspective, I know Cardano's already well ahead of the pack. We don't get as much of the wallet draining and malicious events that other ecosystems get, but any additional layers that we can add, right, like what you've proposed, I think is a huge plus. So I look forward to hopefully seeing this particular proposal funded, Jake. Again, if you guys have any issues or maybe just want to get in contact with Jake, I'll see if there's some sort of contact that I can leave out here for him. And then Jake, I would love to get you in contact with Adam from the Gero Wallet team, because he's actually one of the developers for the Cardano Shield. And then, as you just saw earlier, for ADA Flow as well, which I think could play a really big piece from an investigative standpoint for what you've proposed. That said, we have hit your time limit here. I will be bringing you down unless you've got any final thoughts or closing comments.
Just want to say, very grateful for the opportunity, Fareed. Love what you're doing. Keep it up, man. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. The pleasure is mine, and I wish you a wonderful rest of your day. Take care for now, Jake. Cheers. All right, that is Jake there. Let's see if we can get Raul up. Then we've got Kristen, Scott, and then we've got Chad representing the BBHMM stake pool, followed by Greg. We got him coming in from Empowa. Then we've got, let's see here, we've got Roberto from Andamio, and then I think we've got a couple more. We've also got Daniel from Metera, who's also backstage. So let's get through Raul next, again, followed by Kristen and Jake. Kristen and Scott, and then we're going to get into chat from there. Keep an eye again on that private chat here for the order in terms of who I'll be able to bring up next. All right, Raul de Benedettis, man. You're all over the place, man. How you doing?
Good, Fareed. Thanks for having me back on. I am actually all over the place. I think I'm doing an interview a day here within the last week. So it's all good stuff. We're growing very, very rapidly. I can't believe it's only been 3 months, but it's been phenomenal growth so far. We have a very strong community.
Yeah, no, one of the best and one of the quickest that I've seen growing here in Cardano. I'll go ahead and do the introductory piece for you, right? And let me know how good of a job I do. But for anybody who hasn't heard of Nuvola, they're a dpin aggregator. So if you're looking to support dpin, but you don't necessarily have the knowledge or the not the utility, you don't have the hardware to do that, a platform like Nuvola is just right for you. What they basically do is go ahead and actually collaborate with the top dpin projects, which right now they've already collaborated and partnered up with the Minutes Network. They've partnered up with OrgFax. They've partnered up with Cornucopias, and they've also partnered up with Iagon, a decentralized storage protocol here. But what they basically do is do all of the heavy lifting, right? So all the technical stuff, setting up the infrastructure, getting the nodes running. But then the easy part is where you come in as a user, right? Where you basically hold the Nuvola token, you stake that, and you get a reward or a portion of the rewards that are generated by the actual hardware or the nodes that they operate. So now that we've got the intro out of the way, the collateralization hub, man, the floor is all yours.
Yeah, by the way, that was an incredible summary of what we do.
Thank you.
Yeah, good job. You nailed that. So for our Catalyst Fund, we're creating, in partnership with Ada Anvil, a collateralization hub. Now, at its core, this idea initiated from the dpin model that we currently run. As we run the nodes for all these different dpins partners that we have, some of them have different unlock periods for when the rewards are claimable by the nodes, some as far as 12 months out from the day that the node was activated. So what this does is it creates a bit of an e-liquid setting for a lot of our operations and some even our rewards that we would like to give back to our NVL token holders. So the initial idea started with creating a collateralization mechanism where someone who's accrued about 6 months worth of IAG node rewards, let's say, could take those, collateralize them, wrap them into an NFT that represent the value. So let's say they have 20,000 that they would like to collateralize, 20,000 ADA worth. They would collateralize it and then go on the open market or secondary market via our collateralization marketplace and be able to lend, borrow, sell, essentially extract the liquidity that's currently locked within the mechanism of the nodes. And then that's phase one, right? So we took that model and essentially started to think a little deeper and said, where else can we apply this model? And the Cardano, the ISPO mechanism currently, where there's several tokens locked in within a stake pool, and when you delegate, you essentially earn over time, and then there's an unlock period. It can also be copy pasted into that model as well. That would be our test case within Cardano. It's currently in production as we speak. So we are getting ahead of the ball a little bit. That's phase one, where it's essentially being utilized within the crypto space only. Phase two, which is the next phase of the runway, is to get it into real world application. So given examples, where else is there an e-liquid setting where something has a dollar value specifically tied to it? One of the first things that came to mind was airlines, airline miles, canceled flight credits. Essentially, when someone cancels a flight, the airline never returns the funds at all, right? You never get cash back for it. What they do is they give you flight credit, so you can still utilize the equivalent dollar value into a different flight. So let's say Fareed, and I always use this example, decides to go to Italy with his significant other. He pays $3,000 for the whole trip, and it's 3 months out in advance. But a month later, he's like, something comes up in life, and he needs the cash immediately. He can't make the trip. In the current setting, he would cancel the flight and only get a flight credit. So it still doesn't solve his problem. With our collateralization hub, he would be able to collateralize the flight credit and go sell it to me on the open market for $2,000. So he might not be able to get his full liquidity out of the initial purchase, but he'll get a significant portion of it back. Then I am able to claim that canceled flight credit and take the flight to Italy, or I can turn around and resell it again for $2,500. So now what we're doing is we're creating a secondary market where people can take what is normally an e-liquid setting or functionality or rewards model and extract more value of it. And the beauty of it is that the airline not only capitalizes on the first transaction that Fareed made of $3,000, they're not dishing out any capital for any refunds. But now when Fareed transacts on the secondary market, they earn a listing fee and then a purchasing fee. So there's additional liquidity that can be extracted, which is beneficial to the airlines to open themselves up to this, right? Currently speaking, some rough numbers is about $50 to $70 million annually locked in canceled flight credits across all airlines. And that's just on the primary level. If you start to add secondary and third and fourth transactions into that with fees, these airlines can make a killing. And not only are they winning, the primary customer that is looking for the liquidity is also winning. And then it also creates a secondary market where a lot of other users can come in and capitalize. And it's a win-win-win situation, essentially. This can be done with airline miles that you accrue over time as well, that have a specific monetary value. We're going to be looking to replicate this in sports betting and gambling, where you can collateralize bets, future bets, side bets. There is no ceiling on how far this idea can go. Travel agencies, cruises, even in the hospitality realm with hotels and points and all that. It's a very illiquid market that they've created to rightfully keep clients within their walls. But what we're doing is we're extracting an extra layer and allowing people to interact, all while the primary business is winning. And the customers are also gaining the liquidity that they might want in the case of an emergency, right? So that's phase two of it. We're very excited to be working with Ada Anvil on building the tech. And we're looking to reel in some big real world partners that we've already started to reach out to, even ahead of our Catalyst funding. So we are looking to do this with or without the Catalyst funding, right? The Catalyst funding would actually help us a lot because it would essentially front run a lot of the expenses that we're looking to incur to build it. But essentially, it's going to happen nonetheless, right? We're just super excited though to be able to present this because in conversations with Ada Anvil, Cash coined a term. He said, what this model does is it uncryptos the crypto realm, where someone could be transacting and utilizing crypto technology without even realizing it, and it can be applied to the real world. I think one of the biggest barriers that crypto currently faces is that it's speculative and it's kind of in its own little bubble of use case where it's only within the crypto walls, right? This collateralization hub starts within those walls. It's going to get battle tested there. And then we're going to apply it into the real world where a lot of money can be made from all angles. Now, there are some slight barriers we have to overcome, like, the app itself, ease of use, some legal parameters, depending on which country and the jurisdictions we're in, which we're already seeking legal counsel for that. But I think this idea is one of a kind. It's first to market. It hasn't been done as of yet, which puts Cardano's technology to be showcased on the world stage.
And what I love about this is when I heard about it for the very first time, what's crazy is I had a real life example to actually tie to this. So my brother, which he got married about a year ago. To make a long story short, he didn't get married within the country, he got married outside the country. So we basically booked a flight. Come to find out that we actually saw cheaper tickets the closer to the actual event. The prices got cheaper. And so we basically saw a price which was like with the different airline for a lot cheaper. We canceled the very first set of tickets. We only got like flight credits back.
Mm-hmm.
Now the thing is I'm like, I don't want flight credits. I want my money back so I can go buy another ticket with another airline. So I was kind of stuck, right? Because at this point, I'm like, even though I got a portion of the funds back, I have to use it with the same company. With the proposal like this, there would basically be an opportunity now for me to have sold those credits and then actually gotten rewards or cash to go then do whatever it is that what I wanted to do initially, right? So when I heard this, I was like, man, like I had an experience where I basically got stuck with these credits that didn't have any value to me, but maybe that presents value to somebody else who's then willing to trade cash for those points. So as you mentioned, there's a lot of different use cases here, and I'm really excited for this one. And I also saw you guys have made the shortlist for the MinSwap team proposal. So if anybody's not aware, MinSwap basically brings together their entire community, and they basically create a shortlist for what they want all the MinSwap LP ADA to be used for when it comes to voting. And Nuvola's made it. Now, historically, and I'm sure you're probably well aware, once you make it on that list, if you get the vote, typically you're greenlit. There's a lot of liquidity from MinSwap. And so it'll be really interesting. Again, you guys have done a really good job coming in here and really executing, building a community, building partners, and expanding the offering that Nuvola has. So Raul, I want to give you maybe another minute or so to just give us any closing thoughts, or maybe let us know how people can join the Nuvola community if they're interested in doing so.
Yeah, thank you. And that real world application, that's kind of like the whole point of crypto, is to eventually make the Web 2 world so much easier, right? There's so many problems that exist in the current models, and crypto can solve it. I just feel like the barriers that has not yet been overcome is making it a friendly kind of merger between the two worlds. And this idea, like I said, airline miles, travel, hospitality, travel agencies, gambling, sports betting, it can be applied to any crediting system. Even credit card points essentially you can do the same thing with this, right? So we're very excited. It's always an honor to be here. If anyone wants to join, our Discord is open. And then we have our Twitter is just at Nuvola Digital. We have a very rapid growing community. I see a lot of new faces on a weekly basis in there. So we're very excited, and thank you for shouting out the Min situation as well. If you guys holding Min, please come and vote. Help us out there. I think we're right at the cusp of being within the top 30 that end up making it to the final vote there. So every vote is appreciated, guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to hear me out today.
Always a pleasure, Raul. We've got to definitely catch up here offline and just get some updates going out here to the community. So that said, if you guys want to find out more about Nuvola Digital, I've left the link to their proposal in the live chat box there. And again, I've had Raul de Benedettis here on the channel to talk about what Nuvola is generally speaking. Please make sure to go ahead and check out that interview, and hopefully we can get him on for a future update interview talking about Nuvola Drive and everything else that's being worked on right now. So All right, Raul, enjoy the rest of your weekend out there, man. Take care for now. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. I just want to take a moment here just to say thank you to everybody. Nicholas here, I do apologize. I wasn't able to get you quickly enough. Nicholas is representing the team at Yepple. They're basically helping to provide development services for anybody who has got an app that wants help. Putting that out there. Again, if you're not too technical, this is one of the places or one of the teams that you definitely want to get in contact with. You can go ahead and check out his proposal or the Yepple proposal by going to Idea Scale and then just searching for Yepple. That's YEPPLE. Nicholas, if you're still here in the chat, I'd love to maybe get in contact with you for a separate chat or separate interview moving forward. Again, this is actually my first time doing a marathon, so I want to apologize, right, to the guests that are all waiting backstage. From a timing perspective, I definitely made a few notes in terms of what I can do to better improve. That way you guys are joining the stream when it's your time to speak. It's just been a lot of people that have, wanted to jump on here, and at the very last minute, I try to do my best to accommodate, which has kind of caused a hiccup here in terms of my scheduling. So I do apologize to all the guests waiting backstage, but I definitely thank you for, making some time here to jump on and to talk about your Project Catalyst proposals. Next, we're going to be talking to, let's see here, we're going to be talking to Scott and Kristen, followed by Chad, and actually all three of them are very big members and contributors into the World Mobile community. And then we're going to bring up Daniel Sampson from Metera, followed by Greg Schneider, the CEO from Empowa. And then we've got David Lucchesi, and then we've also got Roberto from Andamio as well. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and bring up Kristen, the space lady, as well as Scott. I want to thank you again both so much for being patient. Scott, I know we discussed trying to get you on a little bit earlier. You're in Australia. You're like in the wee hours of the morning. I thank you so much here for your patience. I'm not going to take up any more time. I'll let you guys do the speaking. I'll be quiet, but I'd love to hear a little bit more about what you guys are doing and what you guys are proposing.
Fareed, thanks for having us on today.
It's a pleasure.
So, WTF is blockchain. We're thinking about making a documentary. It should be a documentary that can be on perhaps a streaming service or maybe shown in a cinema, that sort of quality. I'm noticing that there's a real gap in the media. We have content like we're doing now, where we chat about our projects, and this is a great one to get everyone's Catalyst projects coming on. There's been some really good ones, already today. I see lots of documentaries that maybe they're, what is Bitcoin or something like that, but they never really tell you anything. And so Kristen and I have been working on a project called Old Tales for a couple of years now. We first did a preview to the Cardano community at Rare Bloom in 2022. And yet I didn't feel like rolling out an NFT project, too quickly. I think one of the interesting things about the Old Tales project is that it's really using a lot of tools that other people are building on the blockchain. Many projects at the moment, maybe they're actually building the protocol, or they're building, DEXs and lending, and we've got Nuvola Digital coming on board, and just so many great things are happening. But actually, my contribution to Cardano and to the blockchain isn't so much to build a protocol or to write smart contracts. I'm bringing art to the blockchain, and what we can really do is we can take this art project and we can drag it into a cinema style documentary project. See, the art project is about the medieval period, and it's about humans progress out of the medieval period. It's sort of a time before science, and then we sort of discovered science. And at that time, there were a lot of unfortunate persecutions and other sort of social issues. And actually, as I come into the blockchain space, I can see there's a lot of persecutions in the blockchain space. Actually, there's a lot of people sort of baseless accusations and this type of thing get made, and I think that's kind of entertaining, actually. And I think we can bring a documentary together that sort of starts in sort of farce and vaudeville and sort of shows what the sort of surface of communicating in Twitter and these other places are like. But then as we move towards sort of halfway and towards the end of the documentary, really getting into the the revolution of blockchain, things like SIP 1694 governance, so much of what we're hearing about the Minutes Network and World Mobile and some other things. So look, I want to make sure Kristen, Space Lady, who's just a fantastic community member, and what do you think about this blockchain project, Kristen? Oh, we got you muted at the moment.
Aha, there I am. Yeah, I do consider myself a general community manager, a fan, observer, participant in Cardano culture, and a general blockchain and world-changing enthusiast. I think I want to be the bridge between those people who are interested in the tech and those people who are looking to utilize the tech. And I think that our documentary really is wanting to be part of that bridge, to let people know that this has utility to you. And in turn, that will bring the value that they generate, could be financial value or social value, into the projects that we do daily on blockchain. Because we rely a lot on, say, grants and investors in our space. And starting like dpin is doing, putting forth a service of some kind and bringing that real world money into our ecosystems. But let's see.
I have a quick question. I have a quick question here. And
please ask.
I don't want to put any of you on the spot, but this is obviously tying back into content creation, et cetera. I'd love to maybe hear, how you guys plan on going about that. Do you guys have experience in the space creating content like this, documentary style videos, or do you guys plan on like outsourcing? How can you guys actually take this from nothing to something?
Yeah, look, I think it's, Kristen, you go first.
Well, I'll start out with this. Our proposal is not for the entire WTF is blockchain proposal or the whole documentary. It is for the first baby step that we're taking to creating this. And we're looking for funding to research the legalities of fundraising for the actual project in both Australia and Europe. And we're hoping once we get a framework made for those, we can move into looking at different locations for how to fundraise, essentially, to make this whole thing happen. And I'll let Scott talk a little bit about his exploits in the world of documentaries.
So film production is something that I've been into all of my life. I think I've collected over the years. I've collected a lot of different cameras. This is a film camera from the 1960s. This particular one. This is a wind-up camera, and you actually like, it's got a turret lens and stuff.
That's impressive.
It's cool, right? We could carry this around and film just little bits of it. Little bits of the Cardano community could be captured on film. This one, you put a 16mm roll in and film on one side, flip it over in a dark bag, film on the other side, and then send it off to be developed before you can look at it. Cameras all the way sort of from the 1960s up until now, I've sort of experimented with and played with over the years. I've made some film clips for bands. I've made some corporate documentaries. I've made some documentaries for charity projects that are looking to raise money, and I think I've got a lot of skills in video production. Am I going to direct WTF is blockchain? Like maybe I'll be the guy who follows it all the way through to the end. When you make a movie, documentary, television show, we've all seen the enormous number of credits that are at the end. So whatever Kristen and I managed to sort of start getting going here, it's going to end up involving a lot of other people, both in front of the camera and behind the camera. I was lucky enough through Pete Bowie. Actually, Pete Bowie in Brisbane has been putting on over the years some Cardano events, and I was lucky enough to meet Phil Lewis from Empowa. He came and gave a speech, and I sort of said, Phil, look, we need someone like you as a mentor to be involved, not so much to guide us on the documentary, but to help us with working with the community and perhaps, you know, raising some money and launching some tokens and a whole heap of other things. So Phil has agreed at this stage to come on board and participate as a team member. We've reached out to a couple of other people in the community who would like to be involved in front of the camera. And we're also thinking about putting together a bit of a tour from Australia to England to Europe and then over to North America to hold some meetups, to maybe take you know, cameras like this old 1960s camera. Maybe we'll, you know, of course, bring some modern cameras as well. And what we're really looking to do is to make something that's quite entertaining rather than overly technical. Hopefully by the end of the documentary, someone's really taken on a lot about what blockchain is and what it can do, but they've really been entertained. And so rather than seeking out blockchain knowledge by coming and watching our documentary, what they actually do is get entertained and then introduced to the blockchain. I think as we sort of close our presentation today, I think one of the biggest kind of things that stands out to me is we're all trying to onboard. And I actually, I was, when I was at Consensus, you know, I was lucky enough to talk to Arthur from Tezos, Arthur Brightman. And I thought, yeah, look, I'm going to go and grab some Tezos and I'll check out their ecosystem. And that was really hard. I don't know their wallets and I don't know their explorers. And man, it was really difficult. And I think as we all go about onboarding the next, how many people, you know, 1 billion people, you know, we're going to have a lot of sort of newcomers and they need to be introduced by being entertained rather than kind of by sort of center school sort of thing. So this will be a really entertaining documentary. It's going to be about the Middle Ages clashing with blockchain technology. And we'd really appreciate if you guys could tune into our Catalyst proposal and get behind it and give us a vote, as well as the other people coming on for each show today. So look, thanks so much for having us here today. Kristen, do you have anything you'd like to say as we close?
Yeah, a big thanks to Fareed for getting us on here. It's great to be on this side of the live stream for once.
Yeah, it's a lot different than when you're actually watching it, right? It's a little bit more work, but I definitely enjoyed it as a creator, and hopefully you guys have enjoyed today's experience. I do want to maybe just quickly close out by highlighting the El Paso verse, right? So I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the El Paso verse. Let me go ahead and quickly share this here. I'm going to just mute this here, but they've taken a very similar approach to, let me see here, what you guys have mentioned. You know, when it comes to film and documenting and incorporating blockchain in different ways than a lot of people would expect. So what they've done is they basically built out a, what is the word? Interactive sort of movie set where you're able to be in sort of like the desert back in like the cowboy days, right? But they've added different elements of blockchain and they're doing all this using blockchain and Web3 technology. So maybe just one thing here as, you know, parting words, check out the El Paso verse. I know they've got really, really great skills when it comes to videography, photography, etc. But I think that what you guys are aiming to do in terms of, you know, capturing Web3, bring a brand new perspective to crypto, you guys could maybe collaborate and help each other out in that particular regard. So I've left the link to you guys' proposal in the live chat here for the community to go out and support, and I look forward to it. I mean, as I just get ready to close out, I would maybe love to see like some sort of behind the scenes documentary about not just projects, but individual contributors here in the ecosystem. Imagine, you know, getting some sort of background story or some sort of documentary about Charles Hoskinson, about how Cardano came to be. I think there's a lot of value in what you guys are proposing, and while you guys have maybe had one proposal out for like a small chunk, I definitely think that there's a lot of benefit here for other members with what you guys are aiming to do, which is again sort of take the nuance out of the technical and just present blockchain and crypto for what it is, which I think has more mass appeal for outsiders and not just the tech heads like you and I are, right? No offense, right? But we're all techies. We're here early. We've got to onboard people that weren't maybe as early or maybe just aren't aware as to what the capabilities of blockchain are. So Scott, Kristen, thank you both for joining me here. I appreciate the support you guys show me on my World Mobile streams. And again, for the ladies and gentlemen watching at home, the link to this particular proposal has been left down below. Take care for now, guys, and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thanks again, Fareed.
You're welcome. Yeah, I mean, the marathon continues on. The marathon continues on. And what I love about this is just the wide array of different different proposals that have come on here. For anybody who's missed the intro, we're basically breaking down all the proposals right now with Project Catalyst, which is currently ongoing. Again, I want to give a huge thank you to all the guests that have tuned in here for today's stream. This is one that I'm planning on doing more frequently moving forward, but I also want to go ahead and actually figure out how to better do this, right? So if you guys have any questions, concerns, or suggestions, whether that's the people listening backstage or even just the viewers watching from home, let me know what I can do to improve. Hopefully you guys have been finding some value out of today's stream. Next, we've got Chad. So Chad, if you're still there with me, if you can get your camera rolling, I'll go ahead and bring you up here just momentarily. And we're going to be talking about your proposal. So I see you're up now. Let me go ahead and bring you up stage. Following Chad, I believe we'll be going over to, let me just double check here. We'll be going to, let's see. After Chad, we'll be going to Daniel Sampson and Metera, followed by Greg Schneider and Empowa. We've then got David, and then we've got Roberto, and then we've got two Sebastians backstage. So one Sebastian will be coming up to talk about Andamio, and then we've also got another Sebastian to talk about smart places. All right, let's go ahead and bring up Chad, and then we'll jump into Metera next. Chad, welcome up, man. How you doing, man?
Hey, Fareed. Thanks for having me here. It's great to meet you in Austin, by the way.
It was a pleasure. The pleasure was mine. We're bouncing from all the different social events, together. I saw you at the Rare Evo social, and then I saw you at the Atrium social, I believe, the next day as well. So it's always a pleasure to hang out and to see fellow Cardano community members. And you're a stateful operator, and I believe a World Mobile node operator as well, right? So thank you for what you're doing, and thank you for the service that you're providing to the general community. That said, Chad, we're talking about your two proposals, man. Again, I want to thank you for your patience, but now it's your turn, man. Let's talk about it.
All right, man. Thanks again for having me. I have two proposals for Fund 12. The first proposal is Cardinal, putting Cardano dpin on the map. So basically, I started when I started seeing the World Mobile air nodes on the map. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'm getting all these air nodes up in the world, connecting people. And then Igon released their map as well. And so now we have two maps, right? One for Igon, one for World Mobile, and it wasn't anything that you can kind of see in one place. And I've seen some other blockchains and some other sites where they basically put a few dpin projects together and put them all on the map. And there wasn't anything like that for Cardano. So I started manually doing this and basically getting some of the maps out there. Yeah, that's the WMT scan. If you want to actually go to our demo site, you can go to cardinal.bbhmm.net. I think I posted
Perfect.
it before, but
I'll pull it up here right now. Yep, go ahead.
And so what World Mobile does is they actually give you the GPS coordinates of where all the air nodes are in the world, and that's good because you know the exact location. So if anyone needs to get on and use their service, and you know exactly where to go. With Igon, it's a little bit different because it's storage nodes, right? You don't want to know exactly where that server is or where that data resides, right? So they give you the city and state. So basically, we're aggregating what Igon gives us and what World Mobile gives us, and we're able to put it together in one map. Now, this is just a proof of concept, a demo site that we're able to put together and aggregate that data. We really want to add some of the visualizations in there, make it look a lot nicer. Like the new World Mobile Air Node site is amazing. It's really cool. And we also want to add the Cardano nodes on the map as well. So, we have three different, we have the Cardano blockchain, we have the Igon nodes, and we have the World Mobile Air nodes all together. And that would be really cool to see it all on one map. And then any other dpin projects that would publish their geolocation data or part of it, like Igon just says city and state, it just kind of gives us that world mobile reach and brings awareness to Cardano and dpin and everything that's taking it from the centralized layer to decentralized layer. And so we're super excited about this, and hopefully we get funding. Please check us out for Cardinal. Do you have any questions on that, Fareed? Or
Yeah, I am impressed by number one, the demo, right? So you've obviously done a lot of the heavy lifting here, a lot of the legwork. And for anybody who's watching, I mean, again, I can see all of the Iagon nodes here, and quickly, boom, I've got all the world mobile nodes. And so as dpin definitely warms up, I think this presents a huge opportunity, right? Because let's say Cardinal does blow up, now your platform becomes a place where a lot of people are going to, and maybe new dpin projects get exposure by being listed on a platform like this that aggregates all the nodes and all the different infrastructure platforms or protocols that are currently live on the mainnet. So maybe a quick follow-up, with something like this, because again, I think that this can apply to platforms outside of Cardano. Have you thought about incorporating nodes from projects that are dpin based, but even outside of Cardano? Because as a creator, I can only grow my community so much, right? Because I'm talking about Cardano specifically. But with something like this as well, obviously you can get people onboarded if they're Cardano based projects, but if there's dpin projects out of the ecosystem, this presents a huge opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, we'd definitely be open to that. For sure. I mean, right now we're focusing on Cardano and the dpin projects there, but we're definitely open to opening it up to other blockchains and other dpin services and infrastructure. So yeah.
One other quick question before I let you jump into the second proposal. From a development perspective, are you developing all of this, or are you working with a fully dedicated team?
So right now it's me and Mother Stake Pool Operator, and so between us, we're building this project and built the proof of concept, and that would be that's currently just two of us. So
yeah, I mean, for what you guys have been able to put together, I'll leave the link to it down below for the community to go ahead and check it out. Seems like Thug Nasty's also on board with the idea. I'm surprised that nobody's actually thought of this before. So definitely something that you probably want to jump on with or without Catalyst. Obviously, Catalyst makes it a lot easier to develop, but I think that you've got a really, really good idea with this here. So I just had the Nuvola team on from a dpin perspective and an aggregator perspective. They've been doing very well. I'm sure that you're already aware of different DEX aggregators on Cardano. We've got ADA Markets, right? We've also got DEX Hunter. It just seems like aggregators tend to take a lot of the heavy lifting out of you jumping from site to site. And then with dpin, I'm sure that there's a lot of people that are in World Mobile that are also in Iagon, that are also in OrgFax, et cetera. So for you to be able to give them one location where they can go to and get all this information, I think is very, very beneficial, and obviously makes it a seamless experience for anybody who's looking to take advantage of that. That said, I think you've got a second proposal. So if you want to chat about that, that'd be great. And then we'll move over into Metera.
Yeah, so our second proposal is professional MMA sponsorship for Michael Heckert, Heck the Snake. So he is a jiu-jitsu purple belt. He also does bare knuckle fighting, and I'm a brown belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and I really like the idea of sports marketing and bringing Cardano on the mats. I mean, I watch UFC events and I see crypto.com on there. I see VeChain on there, and I don't see Cardano, and I'm like, oh, I want to see Cardano. And Mike Heckert has been like, I want to get the Cardano logo on my fight kit. I want to show off the Cardano logo. He's done a lot with the SNEC community. I mean, they've basically brought him on board and they've donated a lot already. He pushes SNEC out there, SNEC energy drinks. But yeah, he's basically said that I want to get Cardano logo, wanted to get on my shorts. He actually already put it on one of his fights before, and we want to make it official, because like doing something with Catalyst and having the community vote and say, hey, we want the Cardano logo on his fight kits, and that logo there and being prominent, I think it'd be helpful. We're not asking for a whole lot with that, and so we want to make sure that we are that we get it on there.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if you guys have spoken to the team at Hosky, right? But I know that they've got a couple of like NASCAR cars, race cars wrapped with the Hosky logo. And I've also seen Pete Buey, right, who we were just talking about earlier. He does a little bit of boxing on the side, where he's reached out to other teams and he sort of represented them on his gear and his merch. But I think this is a really good opportunity, right? There's not a lot of fighters in this space, and somebody like this who's obviously passionate and very, very talented, right, in one industry, could potentially bring people into Cardano by representing, by showcasing, with his gear. And obviously the better that he does, the more recognition that he gets, which in turn also benefits Cardano. So from a sponsor standpoint, maybe if there's some sort of thoughts or ways to white label this, right, to maybe just have some sort of even a bigger fund that's like, hey, for anybody who's a professional athlete, if you guys are looking to rock Cardano-based gear or Cardano-based merch, here's this, sort of, maybe foundation, treasury, whatever the case is. I would just maybe challenge you to like think about how can we make this even bigger than Michael. Now, granted, excuse me, this is a great starting point, but how can we create some sort of way to promote Cardano for any professional athlete? Because I do think that there are a lot out there, and they could definitely benefit from the support, but then also provide eyeballs to Cardano in the event that they are successful and that they, continue to grow and mature in their respective careers.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. I mean, like you said, Hosky with the cars. I've seen that. Jerk Drops has a car in there. I think a few others. I think they have Cardano logo on there as well. And so, yeah, I think it'd be really good to get that in, in professional sports marketing. I mean, great to see Cardano logo on the mat, in the UFC mat, and there are a lot of like new fights that are coming out. Like Karate Combat has the Influencers Fight Club on there, and then there's a crypto fight night where Michael Hecker just won in London recently, and they're gonna have events in Singapore, and then hopefully we're gonna get one at Rare Evo, not this year, but maybe next year. That would be awesome, and just to bring awareness to Cardano and sports marketing and getting professional athletes sponsored, getting the logos on there. I think it'd be a huge help with the community.
Yeah. No, I agree. And we got a great comment coming in here from Lord about Newcastle. They're partners with the IPBL Indian Pro Boxing League. They've also got some marketing things going on there as well. So definitely would love for you to maybe take a look and connect with those. Chad, I know you've got to run. In closing, if anybody wants to get in touch with you, how can they do that? And, is there anything else that you want to share with us before we bring up the next guest?
Yeah, they can contact me on Twitter, BBHMM_stake. Telegram, Chattel, Chadle. You can go to our website, bbhmm.net, and let me know if you have any questions. DMs are open. Would love to chat. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you taking the time to join us here. Again, I know you were backstage for a little bit longer than expected. I promise I'll do better during my next marathon stream. And of course, I wish you the best of luck. For anybody who wants to support Chad's proposals, links to both of them in the live chat there. Make sure to go ahead and check those out. That said, Chad, enjoy the rest of your week, and hopefully you have a great weekend. Cheers for now, man.
Thanks again, Fareed. Looking forward to seeing you again soon. Take care.
Likewise. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you all so much. We've got a couple more members backstage before we wrap up today's live stream. Again, please make sure to smash that thumbs up if you guys are getting some value out of today's Catalyst Marathon, right? Again, I look forward to providing more marathons and just really improving the level of my content here. But if you guys have found any portion of today's live stream to be helpful so far, please make sure to smash that thumbs up. It really does help here. Whether you're watching on YouTube, whether you're watching on X or Twitter, please just go ahead and hit that like and make sure to share it out if you can. Go ahead and do so. Next, and actually, let's see here. We've got Metera. So we've got Daniel Samson, excuse me, he'll be bringing up, followed by, let me just make sure I've got the order correct here. Followed by Empowa, and then David, and then Roberto, Sebastian, and then we've got another Sebastian from Smart Places. So next we've got Daniel Samson from Metera, who's building out an index-based protocol. Daniel, I just chatted with you earlier today. Thank you for your patience today, man. How are you doing, man? Good to see you.
Doing great, man. I've been enjoying listening to the proposals and seeing a lot of people I've met before. But thanks for having me and covering Metera protocol proposals.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. For anybody who maybe just isn't aware of Metera, they are one of the bigger builders here in the ecosystem, providing index-based funds in Cardano. I believe they're on the testnet right now, 4 current indexes, 2 of them in partnership with Cerberus, and then an additional 2 that was actually created by the Metera team. So again, make sure to go and check them out on the testnet right now. And they are also a supporter of Dapp Central directly as a as their ICPO is ongoing. They've actually added the Dap Central Stake Pool as a partner pool. So by delegating to either their official stake pool, which is the Metera stake pool, you can earn the Metera token. By also delegating to the Dap Central stake pool, you're also able to earn from there as well. So I do want to extend a huge and a warm welcome and a thank you to you, Daniel, for supporting me here on the channel. That said, you want to maybe dive into your two proposals. I believe one of them is dealing with aggregators, right? And if you've been listening, we've been talking a lot about aggregating services and the benefit that proposes to builders. And then again, I'd love to hear about your second proposal as well.
Yes, I appreciate it so much. So we have two proposals this round. We actually just closed out our only funded proposal for Fund 11, and we just submitted the final reports and it got approved. So we are now diving into the second stage of our protocol. As you correctly mentioned, we are currently on testnet. And I just want to give a brief overview on why we're doing this and why we are creating our platform. So as we all know, the asset management industry is one of the biggest industries in the world. And as crypto becomes more mainstream, we're building the tools that will allow entrance to that industry into Cardano. Generally, when people think about investing in general terms, there's one main rule that everyone should be aware of, which is diversification of your holdings. This is important because diversifying makes sure that you lower your exposure to losses, right? If you don't have all your eggs in one basket, you're most likely to get losses or big losses. And also you have several exposure to a lot of assets that are following one trend or one ecosystem within Cardano or in regular investment like ETFs. We have been testing our platform on public testnet with two portfolios created by Cerberus. We are basically trying to create a marketplace for different strategies and for different indexes, so people can come in and get diversification to the Cardano ecosystem really, really easily. In complete fairness, what's lacking on features on our platform is what we're trying to solve with Fund 12, although we are already actively working to go into mainnet as soon as possible. And this is being able to buy into our index tokens with a single click, right? If you navigate into our testnet, which is test.meteraprotocol.io, you'll see that you have to provide liquidity into an index with the underlying assets in the right proportion. So that's where the first proposal comes into play, which is integrating a DEX aggregator that offers basket buys, such as DEX Hunter or SteelSwap or Axo, which have just released their basket trades, for you to be able to diversify with a simple click. We have been trying to adopt this slogan for Metera, which is diversification at your fingertips, and this is exactly what we're trying to attack with this Fund 12 proposal. Basically, a general overview of this specific proposal is that when a user comes in with the liquidity or wants to provide liquidity and mint an index token, they need to go through the troubles of buying all of the underlying assets in another DX and bringing them in the proportion that we're asking within the portfolio. This gets very tricky because proportions are always changing based on target weights and actual weights based on the strategy that the portfolio manager is suggesting. So what we're going to do is that we're going to plug in the middle a basket aggregator, right? So the user will only provide ADA, the basket aggregator will do the swaps on the back end, and then we'll just return the index token to the user. So we aim to do this experience as seamless as possible because we think our instruments can greatly benefit, can greatly help bring liquidity to Cardano native tokens. And we need to make sure we make this process as easy and as simple as possible. And right now it's a little bit technical, and we found a lot of people having problems understanding how exactly the platform works. With that being said, this is a great segue to our second proposal. A little bit of an alpha, but we haven't made this public yet, but we'll be announcing sometime next week. We are doing an audit with Sunday Labs. We have been speaking a lot with Pi, and they are such an amazing team, and they will be auditing our code. So this second proposal is our code audit with Sunday Labs, which will be starting on Monday, which is pretty exciting. We have decided as a team that we're gonna be upfronting all of the costs for the DEX aggregator implementation, for the audit implementation, well, the whole audit, because we believe these are key features and key pieces for us to go into mainnet, and we cannot wait to go into mainnet. So our hopes is that through Catalyst we're able to offset some of the costs that we've incurred in both the audit and both this DEX aggregator integration, because we want to be on mainnet as soon as possible, and that could be as soon as August of this year. Yeah, those are the two proposals in a nutshell.
Yeah,
So
you did a really good
questions?
job. Yeah, you did a really good job of explaining it. I mentioned accessibility to you, in prior conversations, and I think integrations into aggregators makes things so much easier to get access to, right? And again, it takes a lot of the heavy lifting and people not necessarily having to jump to the Metera website, but you guys still getting the benefit of the exposure. And so, I think with myself personally, I know you guys are just getting the first iteration of the protocol out there, but what I would love to see are MTKs, right, or any of the indexes also being listed on the biggest dexes, et cetera, just like any Cardano native token is being listed or treated as, I think, again, from a risk in a hedging perspective and even an onboarding perspective, where you've got new people that come into Cardano, they don't want to take the time to figure out what is the one DEX token I need to buy, what is the one meme token I need to buy. That's where MTKs or indexes come into play, where maybe now they can get exposure to 4 or 5 DeFi protocols, 4 or 5 meme coins, 4 or 5 of the top performing Cardano, dpin projects, whatever the case is, which I think, again, presents a huge opportunity. So we are very early in the stage of indexes. And I think that the majority of the market share is basically ripe for the taking, whereas wallets, DeFi, and even DEXs is getting a little bit oversaturated, right? So maybe as we close out, not necessarily a question about your proposals, but like, what do you think will be sort of like the make or break for index-based protocols moving forward, given the fact that like we haven't had them launch yet, but I know that there's a lot of use cases and benefit that they can provide.
Yes, so basically I believe everyone that is working on indexes in Cardano, also this is not a concept native to Cardano. I mean, ETFs are the most traded instrument in traditional investment. We have great companies or great indexes in EVMs like the DeFi Pulse Index, which the previous bull market reached over 800 million invested in that specific index, right? I believe we're all trying to solve the problems that a regular user has or a regular investor has, which is actually crafting a portfolio and, more importantly, maintaining that portfolio, right? Tracking the tokens, making sure you are making buys and sells, and you're following a strategy, and you're hopefully outperforming certain targets that you have. I think this Fund 12 proposal for DEX aggregator is a crucial part for our success, because if we're not able to deliver a seamless experience or an easy entrance to one of those indexes, then people perhaps are not going to try it out. And this is something that I've mentioned time and time again. Our platform will only be as successful as the instruments that we're able to provide and the portfolio managers that are offering indexes in our platform. So for that specific reason, we've decided to partner with Cerberus, which are a risk rating agency, and we have been doing some private roadmaps with investors in order to attract liquidity to those specific instruments. And like you correctly mentioned, one part of our strategies as we go to token launch and we raise money from that token launch is providing liquidity to specific indexes and creating secondary markets. So that way you're not you're not only caged into buying an index token via our platform, right? That could be by providing the underlying assets or using a basket aggregator via our platform. But you could also go to Sunday Swap or MinSwap and look at an LP that is offering these native assets. Once you buy that native asset on a secondary market, which will have its own price action, and theoretically, because it's already indexed, right, and it's already tokenized, it should have a slightly higher value than the assets underlying that token. Then you can go into our platform, burn that token, and claim the underlying assets. A really important concept that I don't think we push out enough is that all of the minted tokens represent one-to-one all of the underlying assets, right? So there's no disparity between the minted tokens and the assets under management. So whether you get that token in a DX or via our platform, you're always able to redeem back for the underlying assets one-to-one. So it's 100% collateralized in that sense.
That is very, very important to mention from a security perspective, right? Because people might get worried about, how liquid or how accessible are my funds. But I want to give a huge shout out here to Seth Shepard, who's been here with us since the very first minute we went live. And he made a really, really, really great point here, which is it seems that it's like the next obvious step, right? Talking about indexes for institutional investors and for large family investment houses, right? Because again, a lot of these people, they're not technical. They're not following every single move that's happening in Cardano. They just need exposure to the space, and no better way to do that than by investing in an ETF or an index that gives you broad exposure into a swath of different builders here in a ecosystem or in a technology that you really believe in. So I just want to give a huge shout out to
If I
Seth
can quickly add to Seth's comment is, yes, exactly, that's the next step, and that's what we're attacking, because there's a lot of hedge funds or family funds that are more adverse to risk. That means they are actively trading on crypto, but it's a different thing to come into Cardano and find out if World Mobile token is a token and how it's a token that is worth investing, or C3 or whatever. What we're trying to do is already have a pitch for them, like, hey, here's an instrument. This has been proven to outperform ADA in the last 24 months, and you have instant liquidity if you want to close out on those positions. Obviously, our target is to reach certain agreements with those hedge funds to have liquidity locked for a long period of time. And we are focusing with Cerberus on our tokenomics on how we bootstrap that initial TVL on the platform with our governance token.
Thank you, Daniel. Ladies and gentlemen, if you guys want to find out more about Metera, I'll leave the links, or actually I already left the links in the live chat there. If you jump over to the official website, which is available at Metera, I believe, .io. Let me just double check here. MeteraProtocol.io. They do have a dedicated Catalyst section here. From there, you can get access to both of the Catalyst proposals. Again, if you want to review those and then also give them your thumbs up. Again, I think from an accessibility standpoint, this is great for onboarding, not just the everyday retail user, but as we discussed, institutional and bigger businesses that really want exposure into Cardano. That said, Daniel, I thank you so much for your time. Congrats on everything that you guys have built. Congrats on the testnet, and wish you good luck here with your upcoming TGE and the conclusion of your ISPO. That said, take care for now, man.
Appreciate it for you.
You're
Bye,
welcome.
guys.
You're welcome. All right. As we are winding down today's live stream, we're going to be joined by Greg Schneider, the COO of Empowa. Following him, let me just confirm again, we've got David Lucchesi, and then we're going to be diving into Andamio, and then we're also going to be talking about the Smart Places protocol. Without any further ado, Greg, welcome back. Good to see you again, man. How are you?
Yeah, hey Farid, thanks for having us again. Yeah, I'm really excited to share with your community again some more details about Empowa and our proposal. You've been very gracious to have done some videos on us in the past, so I'll keep it quite short, but for anyone who wants more details, probably best to go back into Farid's archives and find the two videos
Before you start, yeah, we've done, I think, 3 now. But before you start, I just want to give a huge shout out to the Empowa community, man. We've got, let's see here, Matthew Hiltz, who's been anxiously waiting for this part of the stream.
Yeah, hey Matt.
We've got Richard, who's also
Hey,
been
Richard.
literally every video that I put out or stream, he's out there. He's promoting you guys. He's giving you a lot of love. So I just wanted to just quickly just say that you've got one of the big communities out here, and these people have been eagerly waiting to hear from you. So maybe I'll just extend this to Matt and Richard. If you guys have any specific questions that you guys maybe want Greg to answer here that you guys have been sort of waiting to hear a little bit more about, I'm happy to go ahead and pose those to him here once he wraps up his pitch. But back over to you.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks. Hey, Matt. Hey, Richard, the real OGs of the Empowa community. And being an OG really is quite a thing. We've been building within the Cardano ecosystem for coming up to 3 years now. The first time we got Catalyst funding was in Fund 5, where we raised about $60,000 to deliver what we promised was going to be 2 homes, but actually landed up delivering 4. And for those who maybe aren't familiar with Empowa, we work with local developers across emerging markets with a key focus on Africa to enable them to provide rent-to-own contracts to tenants so they can get access to affordable housing. Over the last, as I said, 2 and a bit years that we've been building within Cardano, we've been focused primarily on Mozambique, which was a market that was completely underserved. We can claim that we raised the access to home loans there by 5%, but we were coming off a base of only 600 home loans before we entered the market. So you can really see how underserviced it was. But more recently, we've been turning our attention to Kenya, where there's a big focus on affordable housing, both at a government level, at a state level. And yeah, Kenya, which is a country of around 51 million people, currently only has 27,000 home loans, so also very underserviced. As part of that conversation and part of the research we were doing there and networking, we were contacted by Frank Mawiti, who's the CEO of the Nairobi Securities Exchange, who had been tasked with trying to find a way of crowding in investment into the affordable housing ecosystem within Kenya. Now, by the Nairobi Securities Exchange estimates, that is about $2.5 billion that they're going to require each year to be able to address the affordable housing crisis. And Frank, being quite visionary, is looking to blockchain as a solution for how they can help to access some of their capital. And most importantly, he wants to be able to tokenize this real world asset of the affordable housing within the Nairobi Securities Exchange. So obviously, when he was doing his research about who was looking at affordable housing, who was looking at affordable housing and blockchain, our names came up and we flew out to Kenya, as you can see there, us standing in the EY offices with Frank. And we started to take him through what Cardano could do, how we could execute a solution like this. And of course, he got more and more excited, to the point where he said he would be keen to try and run a pilot where we could build a solution, build a platform, and tokenize a real world asset. In our case, it will be affordable housing, because that is, where we're most focused. And we've explored using Cardano as the underlying technology for that. So that's the proposal we have on the table. And we're going to need some help from a funding perspective to do a lot of the work that's required, the development work, the legal work, the compliance work. But where we're fortunate is not only do we have a strong strategic partner like EY, Ernst Young, who are on the ground helping us legally and with regulatory considerations, but we also have the support of the Nairobi Securities Exchange, which is one of Africa's largest stock exchanges, who has requested this product and will help to raise the funding, bring in liquidity, and generate interest from big sources of local institutional capital like pension funds, etc. Where we think this is an advantage for the broader Cardano ecosystem is that this becomes a real-world application for the technology that we all have professed has real utility. And I think there's been a lot of criticism over the years around Cardano being potentially a ghost chain, or what is the real-world utility, or why is decentralization important, etc. And we think that this could be an opportunity to be able to showcase that there is a real-world use case in emerging markets, in the traditional finance space. And not only is it a showcase that we can hold up at conferences, in marketing events, etc., but the Nairobi Securities Exchange itself is well connected. It's a member of a collective of 25 other stock exchanges, where, again, our technology could hopefully be ported to. It also has shareholders like the London Stock Exchange and BlackRock. So there's going to be a lot of eyeballs looking at what we as Empowa and what we as Cardano are doing with our technology to enable the inflows of capital into emerging markets. And I think I need to remind myself that while it's all really exciting about this showcasing of Cardano's technology and working with a big brand and big name like the Nairobi Securities Exchange, we also have the amazing underlying impact that it makes on the ground. So we are targeting people who are otherwise not had access to affordable housing and making it possible for them to have quality, affordable, climate resilient homes in a way that that is financially sustainable, that can generate rewards for everyone throughout the ecosystem, and they can actually own an asset, which is something that otherwise wouldn't have been possible. So it's really one of those opportunities to demonstrate the Cardano technology, have real world impact, and we hope that people will look to support us. There's the opportunity to, of course, vote on Catalyst. We're in quite a competitive fund, in the Real World Integration Fund, where there's a lot of really great projects, a lot of really big, really great projects, all trying to vie for a limited amount of ADA. So any support there would be helpful. We've also been fortunate to be shortlisted in the MinSwap DAO initiative. So if anyone has any Min, it would be great for them to go vote there. And we've also been fortunate to be shortlisted in the Liquid Finance, who are also doing something similar over the next 48 hours. So if you do have any Liquid tokens, it would be great if you could support us there. But yeah, I think to end off, and maybe I'll answer some questions or saw them pop up, for anyone who is really interested in real-world applications, in the tokenization of real-world assets, who wants to see Cardano on a global stage, I think this is a proposal you might want to look at more closely. I've said this on many other interviews, but I have this vision of us standing on the trading floor with the Empowa and, of course, Cardano logo behind us as we ring the bell on the day that this product goes trading. I think that screenshot alone is going to make people stand up and wonder, what are those crazy Cardano guys been up to the last few years? Or maybe they've been building something of value. So yeah. I have been keeping an eye on the question, sorry. So if there's any you want me to answer, let me know.
There's a few.
Okay,
They definitely
cool.
they definitely took the opportunity to give us some really good questions. So we've got Richard here and Matthew also posting some questions. For the sake of time, let's try to maybe just be as quick as possible here, because there are a few, but I want to give at least all the viewers an opportunity to get their questions answered. So this is coming in from Matthew. So is this proposal to actually build a product that will be traded on the security exchange, or is this just a research-based proposal? And if I'm not mistaken, I think it's actually to provide the framework to sell real-world assets, or RWAs, right? So
Yeah.
I'd love to maybe hear from you.
Yeah, this is not a research proposal. This is not a let's go off and think about it and write a white paper and give us money to do that. Yes, that is part of the process. But for us to unlock all the funds you've requested, we need to build a platform and deliver a platform that will enable for the tokenization of real-world assets, and to have launched at least one product to finance affordable housing, and to have raised funding against that. So within the 12-month period, there should be a work-in sandbox project prototype on which people can then build on. So this is not just us delivering a ChatGPT document at the end of the day.
Of course. No, I think it's very important to make the distinction there. Quick follow-up here from Richard. What does this pose to benefit for Cardano?
So look, I tried to touch on that briefly, but I'll go into it in just a little bit more detail. So I think from our perspective, we see it as, besides the obvious showcase and being an example of what Cardano can do, we're not the only product that we hope will be tokenized, or not the only project that we hope will be tokenized using this platform. This is not being built exclusively for affordable housing and for Empowa. We are building the platform on which we will launch a product, but hopefully other users will see value and will come and tokenize their assets on the Nairobi Securities Exchange using our technology and using the Cardano infrastructure that underpins it. So yeah, I mean, of course, we have a vested interest in seeing this work, but we're not building it exclusively for us. I think I heard an interview earlier with Charles, where he was speaking about tea in Kenya, and there's a Cardano project focused on tea in Kenya. Let's reach out to them and see if they want to, tokenize some of the commodities around tea or coffee. Coffee for sure, that would be great. Kenyan coffee, I'd invest in that. So yeah, hopefully that means that all the kind of underlying, all the traffic, all the underlying data, everything that would be required to deliver this product will obviously find its way on chain, both for our product, but for future products as well.
Got it. Got it. Again, for the sake of time, I want to be fair to everybody here.
Absolutely.
I do have to go ahead and drop you down.
Of course.
However, I do want to just mention very briefly here that your proposal is a part of a different category, right? So you're sort of with the heavy hitters. You're not a traditional proposal where right now the voting is open. I believe the voting will be coming up soon, but you're on a different timeline. That said, go ahead.
No. So our voting is open right now, so you can absolutely go vote for us.
Okay.
Where we were different is we had quite a stringent due diligence process completed by the Cardano Foundation, by Catalyst, etc., where they verified our claims, checked that we had the relationships we claimed. So this is not once I've got the money, I'm going to give Frank a phone call. They have confirmed that we have the relationship, that there's a letter of undertaking that this is going to go ahead. And now voting is open like everyone else.
Noted. I appreciate the clarification. I do plan on getting an RWRA real world partner integration specific stream to talk with the big hitters. Again, you guys are asking within like the millions of ADA, right? So you guys are, I think, in a class of your own. But I do want to thank you, Greg, here for jumping on. Again, I'll be in contact for a future follow-up, but that will go ahead and do it again. Guys, check out our prior interview. We've chatted about this before. And if you guys want to find out more about Empowa, you can head over to the official website, which is also listed in the videos, but it's also available at empowa.io. That said, Greg, thank you again. Thanks for your patience. I really, really appreciate it. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Cheers for now.
Cheers, great.
All right, we are getting close to the end here. Again, if you guys can please smash that thumbs up, this helps to get this out to the general community. We've got David next, followed by Roberto and Sebastian from Andamio. Then we've got another Sebastian from Smart Places, and then I've got Marty, who's going to be our closeout for today's Cardano Catalyst Marathon. That said, David Lucchesi, welcome aboard, man. How are you?
Hi, Farid. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I really appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. It's
Fantastic.
a pleasure. Yeah. You've been a supporter here on my channel since I was at like 10 subscribers, so this is the least I can do is give you an opportunity to jump on here and share the good news about your proposal. So over to you, man. Break it down.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I don't know, maybe somebody already knows me because I'm one of the team members of the European Cardano community. We regularly host town halls next to the World Global Town Hall, so just for Europe. We also take care of hosting X spaces in many languages in the European Union, and also now focusing on in-person events. So in that regard, I would like to invite your followers to vote for the European Cardano community proposal as well. But now I'm here for my personal proposal. I'm a game developer, and I was working the last couple of years on a different kind of game on Cardano. Farid was so kind to let me show it in previous videos. He would try something different and use NFTs in a different way, trying to explore if there were different ways to access also the business models, to find new business models for game developers, because maybe nobody knows, but Steam and the other game platform charge quite a big fee for every game you sell, like 30%, more or less. And until now, in the Web3 environment, we didn't see so many great games from a playable point of view. So the play to earn marketplace now is full mostly for games that are more focused on the earn part compared to the play part. And I think that if we bring in new ideas and new tools to developers, we can find new ways and bring a lot of improvements in our ecosystem. So this game that I was working on was built with the Unity game engine that probably most of the people already knows. And for doing that, I was accessing the NMaker API. And for that, I built a tool that was open source for integrating NMaker with Unity. But Unity now is a quite difficult situation because there were some bad management decisions that let a lot of people that were developing with Unity to leave and look for other tools. So there was recently, the last one was, for example, when they decided to introduce retroactively installation fee for developers. So it means that your games get installed a certain amount of times, then the developer and the publisher needs to pay an extra fee to Unity. That was like one of the last things that makes people really angry, and a lot of people are migrating to other engines. Unity is more or less in between two different kind of situations. So it's targeting both the low entry, the indie game developers, the guys that want to make a game fast, but also the higher end. The problem is that on the upper side for AAA games, most of the people are trying now to use Unreal. While for small games, new technologies like Game Maker or Godot are gaining a lot of traction. Godot has had a lot of improvement in the last few years, and now it's become a very mature solution. But unfortunately, we know that Cardano is the ideal platform for game developers, for indie game developers mostly, because of this technology, because of the multi-asset ledger that allows a developer to read the content of a wallet in looking for the game asset that they need in a smart way, easy way, without the need to access smart contract or do a lot of heavy query. There are APIs like Blueforce to simplify this way, but also in Maker, people knows that service mostly for minting NFT and collection, but they provide a wonderful and very powerful service for doing a lot of other stuff. They can you can use the Maker APIs to create payment links, to create, mint and sell NFT, of course, to access reservation lists, but also you can manage wallets in a very seamless way. And you can, of course, read the content of any wallet, provided that you have an address. So this technology can be integrated in game engine to provide to developers with a very powerful tool that eliminates all the entry barriers for developers that are scared to approach new technology like Web3. If a game developer tries to use a blockchain like Ethereum, for example, or all the EVM blockchains, they discover that there are quite different things there is totally different mindset when you need to approach writing smart contracts. And if you can eliminate the entry barrier, that will facilitate the approach for new developers to our ecosystem. So that's actually what I want to do. So everybody knows that video gaming is $1 billion industry and also is expected to grow enormously in the next few years. So if you can grab a part of those developers and show them how easy it is to work on Cardano, then we can drive quite an enormous amount of adoption, in my opinion. Another thing that is worth mentioning is that the Cardano community seems to have understood this pretty well. In the last few catalyst rounds, there were quite a few different gaming targeting proposals. Many of them have been passed. For example, in Fund 10, we have a proposal from M Labs to create a Cardano game engine for the Godot engine. So that is a very good proposal that will allow people also to create different kind of wallets, maybe a static application instead of having all web apps. But to use the blockchain in a very more straightforward way, it still is not completed yet because it's a pretty big project. There was also another proposal from FutureFest that it's called Maker Unity SDK, that basically what they want to do on Godot, but for the Unity game engine. That has been passed, and I think is approaching the conclusions for it. So my open source plugin now is replaced with more official production from FutureFest, but it's important also to target the people that want to use the Godot game engine because it's open source, just like Cardano, and a lot of people prefer to use open source software, or also are forced to do that for licensing issues or for all those are freedom benefits that it creates for developers.
Very, very, very nicely put. You should maybe look into becoming a creator, David. You speak very well for a technical person. I know a lot of the proposals that have come out here earlier have not been too technically inclined, but this is one that I definitely think provides a lot of value, especially from a game developer's perspective. And for anybody who's maybe missed our 2 interviews before, you've built out the Rookies game and actually shared some content earlier, with the actual demo of the game where you built this out from scratch by yourself, right? So I think we need more people to be focusing in on the development aspect of things. And then you mentioned a really great point, which was to focus more or less on the mechanics of the game, not just the learn to earn or not just the play to earn perspective, which I think is typically what people focus on first, but then inevitably or unfortunately end up making a game that focuses too much on the earning, but not necessarily the actual in-game mechanics or making the game fun. So I love that perspective that you bring in. Of course, again, you're sort of a solo developer, and so I'm sure that doing something like this, where you're creating an entire sort of SDK to take over some of these existing tools or toolings, is quite a daunting task. So I could see exactly why I've got a proposal out, and I just want to just reiterate to the community. Cardano is a community made up of members just like David. As he's mentioned here, he's been a huge supporter to other creators like myself, but he's also been putting his hand to the plow when it comes to the European community, right? Hosting town halls, being a bridge builder, helping projects to connect. And so one of the ways that I'm hopefully giving back is by allowing you to jump on here, provide some value to the community, and hopefully they can also back you by actually voting for your Catalyst proposal. That said, David, if anybody wants to get in touch with you, how can they do that as we get ready to go ahead and bring up our next guest?
The easiest ways to get in touch with me is by Twitter, by X. You can see my handle right below my name, Studio Malaka. This that can sound funny for Greek people, but my wife is Greek, so there's not a problem there. But I want also to add a small thing with the game. Of course, there will be example application that shows up how to use the plugin, and there will be also a full game, so that developers can see how to drive around the plugin, how to use the calls in a real environment. It will not be a big game, of course, because the proposal wants to be short and I want to make this plugin available for everybody as soon as possible. So I decided to have a 4-month schedule for my proposal, but this will include a full game that will show everybody how easy it is to develop on Cardano when you have the right tooling.
That's exactly what we need. More proof of concepts and more iterating on ideas as opposed to trying to build everything out and then showing it and sort of presenting it to the community. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Definitely make sure to go ahead and reach out once that's live. I'll go ahead and make sure to get the word out on my channel. That said, again, David, I want to just thank you for being patient backstage. I know it's been a long wait for you, but I hope again that we're able to connect, and I just want to again thank you for all your support here on the channel since my early days. So that said, enjoy the rest of your week and have a great weekend, David. Take care.
Good luck, everybody. Bye.
Thank you. All right, the marathon continues on. Next, we've got Roberto and Sebastian joining me here from the official Andamio platform. Roberto, we meet again. I actually just had you and Yoram on the channel not too long ago to talk about your real world integration proposal, which that one's a huge one. I just want to quickly remind anybody who maybe just missed out on that one, go ahead and check it out. They're basically aiming to bring on board FC Barcelona, the third largest football club in the world with over 400 million fans, into Cardano. Again, I will be having a separate live stream to focus on those bigger proposals, and you can definitely bet that I'll be reaching back out to yourself, Roberto, and Yoram to bring you on board as well. Now we've got a new member representing Andamio. You're welcome. Who's Sebastian? Sebastian, welcome up. How are you, man?
Oh, good, Farid. Thanks a lot for having us here.
You're welcome. I want to thank you both for your patience. Again, I mentioned this earlier. This is my first time doing a marathon stream. I didn't realize that there'd be that many people. At one point, people couldn't even get into the stream because all the spots were taken, right? So moving forward, I've got a couple of things that I know I need to do to make this a smoother experience for everybody else who's joining to jump on the stream. That said, I'll turn it over to you guys to learn a little bit more about Andamio, and then I'm happy to hear about your proposals.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Farid, for putting this together and for the space to talk about Andamio's proposals for this round of Project Catalyst. My name is Roberto. I'm part of the Andamio team, and I'll be talking specifically about our proposal with FC Barcelona in the partners and real-world integrations category, as you mentioned. And my colleague, Sebastian, will be talking about our Andamio-specific proposals that support our work. As you mentioned, FC Barcelona is one of the biggest sports clubs in the world, but it is also a member-owned sports franchise, which is something that people might not know. And it's obviously got a global fan base with a massive social media following. And Barça Vision, which is a club division focused on emerging technologies like AI, blockchain, and the metaverse, has a very clear idea of how to use these technologies to enhance the fan experience and reach younger audiences. And when they share their vision with us, with what they want to do with this, we recognize that we were a perfect match. And the brief that they gave us is, how can Barça Vision positively impact women and foster economic sustainability using their Discord hub for its Web3 social media community? So in other words, they want to transition from social media engagement to a Web3 empowered community and grow interactions with international markets. And the reason we believe we are a perfect fit for this vision is that we are building infrastructure to introduce the Cardano system, to introduce to the Cardano ecosystem what we call a blockchain-enabled trust layer. And how we plan to do this is by focusing on two areas. One is what skills people have, and the other one is how do we trust their contributions. And so Andamio uses blockchain technology to provide verifiable, trusted connections. How this relates to the FC Barcelona proposal is that we put together an incredible team with organizations like Plastics, which, by the way, is being onboarded to Cardano as well. So check out their proposal by looking for Plastics with a K on the Catalyst voting app. But also Women in Tech, which is an organization that is dedicated to closing the gender gap and empowering women to embrace technology. And Maker, which I'm sure all you know is a Cardano powerhouse when it comes to creating and managing NFT and tokenization projects. And they are a key partner in providing knowledge and infrastructure for NFT-based reward mechanisms. So together, Andamio will deliver what we call a Train the Trainer program, which to communities in different parts of the world, and will enable them to build educational content, which will then be delivered to other communities that are seeking to opt into contribution opportunities. For example, being a Discord channel manager in the Barça Discord channel. So in this way, we seek to build capacity to educate, but also to work. So what's unique about this proposal is that all of these skills and contributions will be recorded on chain, creating credentials that will provide evidence not just of skills acquired, but of skills put to work, solving real-world problems and meeting real-world demands. This will allow FC Barcelona to provide a unique experience to their fans, allowing them to be a very real part of the club by upskilling and then putting those skills to work. However, this is just one use case, and my colleague Sebastian can speak to the other proposals that we have for this round of Catalyst that seek to make this infrastructure available to organizations across our ecosystem. So in conclusion, sorry, Fred.
No, go for it.
It's just to finalize, I really want to emphasize that this is just the beginning of Cardano's partnership with one of the world's largest sports clubs. Our goal in providing an Andamio infrastructure for this project is to unlock new applications for Cardano technology for a global community that includes football fans. And just to put things in perspective, the final match of the last World Cup was watched by 1.5 billion people. So you can think about the significant exposure that this sort of approaching this sort of target audience can bring to Cardano and to our industry.
Yeah, and I apologize for cutting you off there earlier. No, I just wanted to quickly plug in our last interview again with yourself and Yorm. A very, very well-performing video. A lot of eyeballs on that video. And again, you guys jump into all the details surrounding, what Barca is, what Barca Vision is, how you guys have already sort of built a relationship with them, which I think puts you guys in a really good position to execute on this if we're able to get the votes from the Cardano community. I mentioned this earlier. I'll quickly plug it back in again, but I'll have a separate live stream with all of the bigger builders for that RWI category, and you guys can definitely bet that I'll be bringing you guys back on for that. That said, Sebastian, welcome over to you to discuss the Andamio specific proposals.
Sorry, I'll have to drop off, Farid. I have to jump off quickly. I just have an appointment. Sorry. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your patience backstage. I appreciate it.
Thanks. Bye, guys.
All right, Sebastian, over to you.
Okay, I'm trying to share a screen. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yep, I can pull it up. If you're ready, I see myself. Let me know when you're ready for me to pull it up.
Yeah, I'm ready. Oh, thanks a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see my presentation?
Yes.
Great. Okay, as my colleague Roberto said before, I'm from Andamio. Oh, okay, that's not necessarily this. Okay, first, the people, this is the mixed bag of tricks We are a really mixed type of people in this team. We have people from ex-Amazons to ex-Alibabas, from people specialized in technical and non-technical things. And we have a really talented people bringing on the table all the best of them to serve to these big organizations like the FC Barcelona. As my partner said before, this FC recently we received we have received a really good feedback information. We are in the spotlight for this FC Barcelona's proposal. It's a big club. It's a big organization with thousands of members and worldwide reach, a huge outreach outside of around the world. So, but I have to say this proposal is the product of a partnership with really well-intended and well-known organizations like Women in Tech, Plastics, and in Maker in the FC Barcelona itself. So there is no too much to say in that respect. But the important thing is the impact of this kind of proposals is the increasing in the number of open wallets, the potential increasing of the number of open wallets, the increasing in the transactions volume, and we are talking about the increasing in the general activity in the ecosystem. This is a huge opportunity for the startups, the developers, the non-developers of all the work that we do inside the Cardano ecosystem. This is an opportunity to start pulling off, bringing the external world in our ecosystem. But Andamio, considering this, Andamio presents a use case. We have here a use case, a concrete use case, that is this global business landscape where this trend toward more democratic workplaces and organizations around the world. We have there an opportunity with these organizations that are looking for some ways to engage their members and their people in a different way to organize work and organize people in general. Democratic organizations. This is a huge topic and a huge, let's say, a niche, a market niche in general. Because like the FC Barcelona, we have dozens and hundreds of organizations of this kind looking for integrate this distributed and decentralized way to do things. And just remember, we are currently in this Voltaire governance, so we have several things to provide to these external organizations that are backed with huge amounts of capital that can be injected in the ecosystem if they come to us with this knowledge and say that we have as Cardano ecosystem, in the governance area. So democratic organizations are owned by members, as in the case of the FC Barcelona. The members, these 100,000, more than 100,000 people, are the owners of the club. So they have voting rights and they have decision rights. They have a say in the direction of the organization. And this organization, this is not about, for one side, it's about the people, but it's about the organization itself is looking for ways to be involved in new endeavors. We have, for example, in this FC Barcelona, we have this proposal. We have women in tech, women in tech. We have plastics. These organizations represent concrete endeavors around education, around access to opportunities, around gender equality, environmental conservation, social responsibility, and empowerment. So they come to this table, they come to this proposal, and they plan in the future to be involved in Cardano just for these reasons. They want partners that follow and pursue this kind of this kind of projects. But of course, serving organizations like the FC Barcelona is a huge endeavor. These organizations with hundreds of thousands of members and a worldwide reach of millions of people is a massive endeavor in terms of infrastructure and in terms of technology. So we are Andamio. Andamio, we are building a global network of contributors and collaborators across all sorts of flavors of distributed organization. We have the technology. We are developing and measuring, developing the technology that is needed to serve to this type of organizations, these distributed and democratic organizations. But not only us, we are the bridge between these organizations and all the startups, all the techs, all the devs in the Cardano ecosystem that can connect with these organizations and build partnerships. We are just a bridge. Okay, we are building a measurement infrastructure that leads to high-performing relationships of learning, collaboration, and contribution in these distributed and democratic organizations. Before we are talking about education, about access to opportunities, about gender equality, about environmental conservation. Sometimes these words like learning, collaboration, or contribution sounds empty because maybe we tend to, in general, we tend to put these words and the meaning of these words in the background. But when we have organizations like the FC Barcelona, for example, putting millions of funds and money behind supporting these endeavors of learning, contribution, collaboration, you start to pay attention. And okay, maybe there we have an opportunity as ecosystem. We have a business opportunity. This is really short. Really, really short. It's one of our co-founders.
I am not sure if we're able to get the sound to the audience. However, what I can do
Okay, no
is
problem.
if you want to send me the
Sure.
link, I will go ahead and share it in the live chat,
Sure.
and that way people can get access to the video that way. But no, I definitely do appreciate your presentation here, Sebastian. As I mentioned there earlier, I've had Yoram as well as Roberto on, and I look forward to having you guys on again to discuss, what you guys are aiming to do with FC Barcelona. But for anybody who just maybe isn't aware of Andamio, because they did recently come on my radar, you guys are basically bridge builders, right? So helping developers figure out and find out where, they can really build, but then get a supportive community of other like-minded developers, right? To really help them grow into, again, find where they provide the most value here within this ecosystem. So I just want to extend a huge shout out here to you and the rest of the Andamio team for what you guys are doing and the people that you guys are able to get connected, right? Which includes a few other people that we've mentioned, which are like from the Endmaker, Plastics, FC Barcelona. I mean, there's an entire list that you guys have helped to onboard into Cardano, into blockchain. So again, I'll leave the link to that particular YouTube video in the chat for anybody who wants to check that out.
Yeah.
But I think that will bring us to our time here. Any parting thoughts?
Yeah, just to conclude, we believe in collaboration, in contribution. Collaboration is key to bring progress to the ecosystem. We are doing things like FC Barcelona project with many other actors in the ecosystem and outside the ecosystem. But we believe that we have this role of connecting the ecosystem in general to what is happening outside the ecosystem in the real world, in the real economy. So here we have an opportunity to bring thousands of millions, from thousands to millions of people new in the ecosystem that will impact directly metrics that are important and key in the to measure the activity in the ecosystem: number of wallets, number of transactions, volume transaction, etc., etc. We have here an opportunity, and this besides the FC Barcelona proposal, we have other proposals that we have the link tree. Those proposals are key to build this infrastructure that we need to serve to these organizations. So
thank you, Sebastian. Again, for the viewers, please check out that interview I've done with the Andamio team, really talking about everything, right, that they've been able to bring into the Cardano ecosystem. And I've gone ahead and posted the link to that YouTube video there for the viewers here as well. I want to thank you for waiting patiently back there, Sebastian. And again, good luck with all your Project Catalyst proposals. Take care for now and have a wonderful rest of your week.
Thanks a lot, Farid. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Cheers. All right, we've got another Sebastian. Interesting enough, I was actually a little confused backstage. I was like, I thought I was speaking with one person, but there are two Sebastians. This next one is up representing the Smart Places platform. Now, after this, Sebastian will be closing out with Marty from Paideia, who's currently backstage. Sebastian, thank you so much for your patience here on this afternoon, and thank you for joining us. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, and no worries whatsoever. Definitely stretched beyond the afternoon for myself. It seems like we've got quite a few tonight joining from Australia, but yeah,
yes,
joining from Adelaide in South Australia myself.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, let's get you through and let you get back to bed, man. I apologize.
Well, what do you mean back to bed? I've sat here, I've listened into everyone. It's been really enjoyable, and thank you for having me, Farid. I know you've hosted some of our other kind of core team members in the past, and have spoken very highly of the interactions I've had with you.
No, thank you. The pleasure is mine. For anybody who just isn't aware of Smart Places, I'd love to hear, from your perspective, what Smart Places is. And you guys have just had your TGE, and you guys are really making a lot of progress, right? So maybe you could share a little bit of that with us, and then we'll dive into the proposals.
Yeah, we have a very significant Q3, Q4, and then onwards, and a lot that's quite exciting for both us as a project, I would say for our community, and especially the pioneers, who have, a lot of them, been kind of loyal and passionate in helping to push the project forwards for in excess of 2 years now, even from an NFT standpoint, let alone a development standpoint. And for those who may just, I guess, today be tuning in and hearing about Smart Places, I've got, a couple of minutes so I can give some basic details about it, and then I'll jump into the couple of proposals that we've got for Proposal Fund 12. So perfect. Smart Places as an actual business at its core is a social fi network, one with the lofty ambition to revolutionize social media for users and businesses alike. Doing so through the establishment of an ecosystem that intertwines both trust and innovation. Essentially, we'll be giving users the autonomy to decide which and how much of their personal data to share with not only the Smart Places app, but also with users and our businesses or advertising partners. With this element, we understand and appreciate as an increasingly important and contentious issue, especially with kind of data privacy leaks that, even though everyone seems to kind of sign their lives away with apps, it goes often beyond that with the significant leaks that tend to pop up in the standard media channels month to month. Through our application, we'll be enabling users to actively thrive through their own engagements in our social fi network, rather than purely using, or I think a lot of people would even argue being used by social media. And users will be doing so via real life experiences and interactions with businesses, all the whilst earning instantly redeemable rewards. To describe the application itself in terms of what you'll be kind of seeing and using as a user on a daily basis, we've divided the entire Earth into hexagons, with each one representing a virtual segment of the real world. These Smart Places land plots can be bought as unique digital assets on our platform as tradable NFTs. We've sold significantly in excess of 30,000 individual land plots over the course of just over 24 months. And we've got some people who've got some very significant plans for what they would like to do with them, utilizing what we've got coming up with our mobile app in early iterations going live later this year, and then rolling out following that in, I guess, all its glory. And those land plot holders will be able to benefit from redeemable rewards tokens for every user interaction that they have and all activities, whether they're involving businesses or our advertising partners or just other users in general. And anything that occurs on their owned virtual land plots, they can also receive revenue and at times passive income from. And through integrating AR and AI ads from our partners, we create an immersive mobile experience that provides users with a unique hyperlocal discovery journey through gamification. And in terms of the description and summary of Smart Places and what we are and what we provide, segues pretty well into the first of the two proposals that we've got currently live for this fund round. And that initial one is, and it's quite a mouthful, the title, so I apologize for that, is Smart Places, Advertising Campaign Manager using geolocation and incentivized NFTs. So to kind of break that down, it falls under the product category, and it's a pretty heavy hitting proposal in terms of scope and what we'd like to do for Cardano with it. We've aimed to directly address a significant issue that's faced by advertisers. And this is advertisers that already currently exist within the Web2 world. And that issue being that without very specific tailored measures, advertisers are often plagued by heavy limiting factors. Sorry, I just have to adjust there because when I speak without input coming back, or if I go on to, I guess, what could be seen at times as maybe a tirade, this headset actually turns itself off. It goes into power saving. And if
That's
I don't
fancy.
realize, we can be left for minutes of me talking into the ether. So to save the
No, you're
embarrassment,
good.
I'll just explain it away a little bit.
You're good.
But essentially with existing advertisers, they face significant issues if they don't have highly tailored measures in place. And they get plagued by limiting factors there when it comes to market and user penetration, which contributes to difficulties for them to achieve kind of the broad overall success of campaigns. More of like I guess, unless they implement effective tools, I don't know, a lot of people may hear the term, especially American users, a kind of spray and pray, just the hope that if you shoot a whole bunch of bullets, eventually something will hit. But our solution offers highly targeted via geo-targeting and incentivized NFT-based ad campaigns, enabling diverse placements and dynamic pricing control for optimal results with user-consented attributes. Obviously with a bit of an accentuation there on the user-consented attributes. So essentially, with our tool, you'll have advertisers having the significantly increased ability to highly target and hone in on their audience. But at the same time, we know that that audience, via their own permissions, have allowed, and you would hope, be happy to receiving such advertising. And with the solution primarily engaging already existing Web2 SMEs or small to medium enterprises, as well as corporate groups, we'll be spanning multiple industries there. And our goal is to create a streamlined integration for them directly into the Cardano ecosystem, which, as we all know here, is an already established audience. If funded, we'll have the increased capacity to create this powerful tooling to be utilized by these already established advertisers. The tooling platform itself has quite a selection of key features. I'll go through them. I won't go into detail about them because a lot of it is kind of said in the name. For instance, the main one, which is in the name of the proposal itself, is the geolocation targeting we then also have incentivized engagement, NFT-based advertising, campaign planning and management, diverse ad placement options, dynamic pricing control. So essentially, we've got what we would hope is a near perfect mixture there of powerful and dynamic tools, which would allow advertising companies to directly target an effective audience in order to push their product there.
Yeah, really, really great summarization. I love how you kind of you started off slowly, right? Obviously highlighting what Smart Places is, and then you dove straight into the proposal. One thing I just want to add here as a bit of feedback is just the importance, right? And I'm sure for the viewers, they understand the importance of ads. I take a look at my X feed ads, YouTube feed ads. As even a creator, you know, I'm encouraged to earn more from the platform by adding ads to my personal content, you know? And so I think we're in an ad centric environment where ads are all over. You know, you cannot go a single day without being bombarded by ads, whether that's in real life for physical ads, or, you know, ads on your mobile devices. I mean, left and right, there's ads. And so I think this is a huge opportunity, right, to not only take advantage of sort of like this ad economy that we're in, but then to also use Cardano tech and bring people into Cardano. So from a value perspective, I think this is a huge opportunity. And I think that there's a lot of potential here, right? So maybe making this somewhat of a white label solution that anybody can adopt, right? Where anybody that needs ad services can jump in and say, hey, here's, you know, what we're looking for. And then you guys basically are able to sort of tailor an ad campaign for them to help them reach their target audience. So yeah, that was just one of the things that came to my mind, was just the impact and how big ads are in our daily lives, and the fact that we don't necessarily have anything for businesses that are looking to take advantage of ad campaigns, especially in Cardano, the ability to do so.
Yeah, thank you for that there. And the insights, I would say, quite significant and accurate there as well. Had a couple of kind of dot points when it comes to the actual why and the impact, not just for the existing advertisers, but also for Cardano. And you've touched on basically the key points there. So I appreciate the insight. Thank you.
No, the pleasure's mine. The pleasure's mine. From a development perspective, as we get ready to wind down here, how difficult is this to implement? You know, how long would it take, if funded, for us to see this live on the mainnet?
Ideally, the time frame that we would be aiming for would be within 8 months. And in terms of the funding that is being asked for, it's a pretty specific number, actually. It's 486,000 ADA. So I guess it falls more into kind of the upper middle bracket when it comes to the size of proposals. I myself, I'm in a social media and community management role. I know that our team is quite significant and dev heavy. One of our current CEOs was a Microsoft dev for over 20 years. And when it comes to what's going on behind the scenes for app development and tooling, such as what we're talking about now, I know that the team are pretty much working what I would consider, like, 24/7, considering, I'm in Australia, we've got people in Germany, we've got people in the US. So I guess you could argue that it's nonstop.
Yeah, no. And that's what I love about the space is the decentralized nature of it, and, being able to get access to people that are well across the globe, right? To come together to make a vision happen. That said, Sebastian, for anybody who wants to maybe just get in contact with you guys, the team at Smart Places, and just wants to learn more, how can they do that in order to show their support?
We've got a kind of a selection of ways that they can do so. I would say for a lot of people, if they want more direct communication, to utilize our Discord. We have quite an active community there, especially within the pioneers element. The pioneers are individuals that have oftentimes been involved in the project for quite a significant period of time and own land plots, which are currently available. As I was covering earlier, we've split the entire planet into land plots. And the idea is that each land plot could have its own kind of intrinsic potential value, whether that's because it's a really popular landmark that people are almost guaranteed to visit. Or it could be something quite niche out in a country community that once a year has a really specific festival, and every single person in that town and surrounding towns they go to. It could be maybe it's a farming region and it's a seasonal crop, which they turn into specific products, whether that be food or drink. And it might be that kind of the savvy investor could purchase those land plots that no one else would think to see as a form of investment. And you can set yourself up, once everything is up and running on the mobile application, you yourself can onboard businesses to the application, and through their advertising can interact with them when this event, for instance, is occurring, and there's increased social activity on the Smart Places app. So you can set yourself up for a kind of effort versus reward, rather than competing or paying potentially a high dollar price or high ADA price for something on the secondary market, but rather if you really want to put your mind to work, there's a lot of really interesting, intricate ways that people can approach land plots and land plot potential. And it's something that I've enjoyed as quite a new member of the team. I've only been involved for about 2 months. I was involved in the LBE just as a community member, but for me, just sitting in the Pioneer chat and seeing these individuals who've invested for, sometimes over 2 years, and they're talking about these extensive plans that they have. And I love the different angles that people approach it from, but also the fact that they have maintained that passion and they really believe in what's being built within the project.
Yeah. No, I was going to say you've got some support coming in here. I wasn't sure if you're done with that thought, but just wanted to put this up here on the screen. We've got Jacob Peterson mentioning and saying great pitch. We also got Andre Ricketts here tuning in and giving you some kudos here. So just wanted to say thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you, Sebastian, for joining us. I'll leave the official link to Smart Places and their proposal in the live chat here. If you guys do want to find out more about Smart Places, their official website is available at smart-places-io. Again, one of the few SocialFi projects you're building here on Cardano. That said, Sebastian, I do want to thank you again for your patience backstage, and I want to thank you for taking the time to come up here and present what you guys are proposing.
An absolute pleasure. No, thank you for that. I know I've taken up a bit of time there, because I get quite passionate, especially when questions are asked and I can kind of flow with it. But if I do have the time, we have another smaller proposal that I would be happy to pitch. But essentially, really, it doesn't require too much discussion, as it's quite simple and succinct, but at least in our eyes, still very potentially impactful for Cardano.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think we've got Marty here. I do want to give him an opportunity to jump up. If you want to jump up after Marty, I'm more than happy to have you back as we get ready to close out. You guys are my 2 last guests.
Yeah, no, that sounds awesome. I won't keep him waiting any longer, but I'm happy to sit in the bleachers again for a few minutes.
Okay, sounds good. All right, Sebastian, I will talk to you momentarily. All right, last but not least, we've got Marty. Whew. It has been a long day. So we are just at about 3 hours for the Cardano Catalyst Marathon. It has been a marathon, for lack of better words here. I didn't expect it for it to get this big. Yeah, like once I put the tweet out there, it seems like everybody wanted to jump on. And I just thank you, right, for seeing the stream, asking to jump on, and for being flexible to top in and to talk about Paideia. Now, I am very well aware of what Paideia is, but maybe we can get a couple of sentences here for the viewers to better understand what you're building from a DAO management perspective. Uh-oh, sounds like your audio, maybe double check.
Got me here?
Loud and clear, perfect.
Awesome. Yeah, I really appreciate you having me on. Thanks for squeezing me in.
You're welcome.
It's nice to see you. It's been a while.
It has.
I will jump right in the interest of time. So for those of you who aren't aware, Paideia is DAO management software. We've launched the app in beta on Ergo. We received a little bit of funding from the last Catalyst proposal to begin work on our smart contracts, but there's more work that will need to be done. So the 2 proposals we have, both for Paideia, are related to updating the front end to integrate Cardano and building off-chain code and also extending our smart contracts to offer more features. So yeah, there it is. Do you want me to share? Because I have a login
Yep.
that has tokens.
Go for it. Go for
Okay,
it.
sure.
Just let me know when to bring it up. Yeah, this has been an interesting platform for me here, and what I love about this is your sort of experience in community, right? Within not just Cardano, but then Ergo, aiming to hopefully bridge the two together. But your screen should be visible now for the audience to see.
Yeah, so this is the actual Paideia DAO. Farid was just looking at the list of all DAOs, but I'm logged in. I've got a bunch of the beta DAO tokens. Just real quick, these are proposals. You can create a proposal, have a vote. Everything you see here was done on chain. The votes can be simple votes. So if you wanted to have a vote for your DAO, you just do a simple vote, and the outcome is, you know, a result where we saw that the vote passed or it didn't, and then we have to do a manual action, right? That's like the most basic version of a DAO. But they can also be on-chain things. So you can have a vote which then executes an on-chain command. So that can include just simply sending funds. It can include interacting with a smart contract. So you could have an LP in your DAO treasury, and you could say, we want to remove some of this liquidity and move it to another DAO. That could be a proposal that would be executed automatically, and you don't have to trust anybody. So that's sort of, we wanted to take the manual input out of the DAO and actually automate it, like decentralized autonomous organization. So it does work on Ergo. One thing you'll see, this is kind of a bug right now. We're in beta. This banner is quite large. But the interesting thing is this banner was added through this proposal. So somebody created a proposal, we voted on it, it was a yes vote, and that banner was then added to their DAO landing page. So it works on Ergo. We're getting close. We're working on the smart contracts alone on Cardano, and we'd love to have some support to get that to a finished product where everyone can use it. It's all written in ICANN, and it will be audited. So
Yeah, what I would love to see is more integrations of these, build your own DAO platforms in the general ecosystem. I know that there's the Clarity DAO platform, and they've onboarded a couple of projects. Maybe, I want to focus obviously on your proposals, but I'd also love to hear about like your thoughts in terms of just like DAOs and how they've evolved so far. I think they've really, I don't want to say struggled to find adoption, but I know that there was sort of a time period where everybody was really looking to figure out how do we do governance and how do we do it right. And even with Cardano itself, right, with SIP number 1694 and governance coming very soon, there's still a lot of like opposing ideologies about how governance should be run. Obviously, you're very close to the space, so I'd love to hear about your thoughts when it comes to that. But I don't want to overshadow your proposal. So if you want to talk about the proposals, we can do that, or we can maybe just have a more general discussion around DAOs, governance, and adoption.
I'm happy to have a more general discussion. I think governance is an important topic on the Cardano ecosystem. I actually went to one of those presentations about that CIP. So it was great to meet some people from the ecosystem. But like you just said, there's so many opposing views. I think for me, one of the best ways to approach it would be make the decisions you make somewhat reversible and give it a try. There's going to be growing pains. You're not going to get it right the first time. So I think it would be excellent if the way that they implement it for Cardano as an ecosystem is sort of you can allow for some of those growing pains to take place where if we decide, this isn't working, we can change that, right? So don't make it all locked in, permanent, and irreversible, immutable. So
that's an interesting point. And I completely agree with you. I think my thing is a lot of people in this space are like, hey, once we do something, we shouldn't be rolling stuff back. But I do agree, at least in the early stages, when people are trying to understand governance, people are beginning to actually see the impacts of it, that we have some sort of, I don't want to call it a fail safe, but the ability to like roll things back, right? To where it's like, hey, maybe we thought this would be the right thing to do. We've done it through a vote, and maybe it just didn't pan out the way that we thought. So, hey, let's give us at least a little bit of buffer in the event that we make an incorrect or a decision that maybe has a downstream effect that we didn't necessarily anticipate. One other thing that I'd maybe love to hear about is education, because I think a lot of people understand what the word DAO means, but they've never participated or they just don't understand it. And even with Cardano governance, I had to spend a couple of hours, I mean, multiple hours to understand, you know, the framework, the DREPs, delegation, creating an action, the parameters. Like there's so much involved in it. How can we simplify the education around DAO governance?
Yeah, just to speak to your previous point, I think I don't mean revert completely. I sort of mean leave the governance, give the governance process an ability to make changes to governance. So that's one feature actually on Paideia, just since we're on the topic, is in your DAO, you can go in to the settings, the DAO config, and you can make a proposal which changes the DAO parameters. That could be quorum, quorum meaning the number of votes you need to actually have cast in order for it to pass. Even let's say only 100 people out of thousands voted. Here's the settings here, and you can actually just change these, hit submit, and that will create a proposal on chain for you. So quorum would be if only 100 people vote, but you need 1,000 to vote for it to pass. Even if it was voted yes, it would still fail because you didn't meet quorum. And this is sort of like a whale protection, for instance. Let's say there's a couple big Cardano whales, and you're concerned that their votes they'll be able to put a bunch of proposals through and then just vote on them themselves, and those will pass, and they'll be able to take control of the chain with that respect, right? So you'd set the quorum beyond what you would need so that enough people have to vote on everything for it to pass. So this is something that sometimes you need to play with that number a little bit to get it right. I mean, and also if you set quorum too high, sometimes your DAO grinds to a complete halt, right? So these are things that I think that it's going to be challenging for the Cardano community as a whole to get right. And then speaking to your question about education, yeah, I think that's extremely important. I think once we build our platform, we'd definitely like to create some documentation which simplifies, and explains, elucidates the thought process needed to become an intelligent voter, so to speak, because if you don't know sort of the impacts that your vote can have, then your vote can be damaging, right? The term Paideia actually means an educated voter in a democratic system. It's a Greek term I believe from back in the day when they were creating things like republic and democracy and things like that. So I think education is just as important as the technical side of things, because you can make the technical side exceptional, and if people just vote poorly, you might have terrible results, right? And by poorly, I mean just illogically and not in their own best interest, which is something we see in the real world as well, right?
So true. So true. And again, I think for me, I'm excited about Cardano governance. As a creator, I'm just kind of monitoring how it's perceived and how well we get participation, because I'm sure you're aware it's one of those things where there's a lot of ADA floating around. People are staking it, but it's not always necessarily being used, right? So maybe a final question to you here, how do we incentivize participation without flat out saying, hey, we're going to pay you to vote?
Maybe you do pay them to vote.
That's interesting. I'd love to hear what the viewers think about that. But I've been thinking about that because I'm like, okay, well, there's a lot of votes going on, but sometimes people just aren't interested. Now I know with Catalyst, you get rewarded after the fact, but how sustainable is that if we're being paid to vote for every single vote? Do you think that there's enough ADA to really make that a sustainable thing? Or is it like, hey, we're going to handhold for a little bit until we've got enough people that understand, and then we're just going to kind of pull the plug? Because when you pull the plug, then people are going to stop voting, at least in my opinion, because they're no longer being incentivized. So it's like, it's a slippery slope, right? Where like you want to be careful before you start doing that, because then people have an expectation that's always going to be the case.
That's another parameter you have to think about, right? And we've thought about that a little bit with Paideia. So we're going to be one of the settings, the main DAO, Paideia DAO, where we'll be able to change. We have built into the smart contracts, we have profit sharing. The fees collected will be included and shared between registered voters in a proportion to what they decided based on the DAO config. So that could be 25%, and the additional 75% is used and spent on more features, for instance. Another thing is what is the cost of voting? What is the cost of making a proposal? Because if making a proposal is free, then you can Sybil attack the DAO. So let's say I have a nefarious or a malicious proposal where I take all the money out of the DAO. If I make 1,000 proposals because they're free, and I sneak my malicious one in, and I have enough people who are willing to vote yes for me, I can take all that money, right? And nobody will notice, because who has time to go through 1,000 proposals? So there's so many things you have to think about, and as soon as you make it an immutable smart contract, it becomes very difficult to change if somebody finds a way around something like that. So
so true.
Those parameters require a lot of thought, and
Yeah,
right,
no, I agree. And again, what I would love to see is fine tuning and maybe some sort of reports about the impact that different properties have, right? So as you mentioned, maybe when you increase the quorum, how do people react when you decrease the quorum, when you have no fees on proposals? How does that impact things? I think we just need more research and analysis around that. But as we get ready to close things down, there's a really great piece that came in here. Let's see here from Sebastian. In Australia, we're fined. I think there was a minor typo there for not voting. So imagine that being applied to Cardano. Yeah, where it's like, hey, maybe there's collateral. Exactly. There's some sort of collateral that you like put up with your wallet, and let's say you stop participating and stuff. It's like maybe you lose that collateral. I mean, that would definitely I don't want to say force, but that would definitely motivate people to vote, right? I think, again, there just needs to be more conversations around how we can incentivize voting here in the ecosystem. That said, Marty, I want to be respectful. I think we've got Sebastian waiting to come back up here as we get ready to wind this stream down. Any final or closing thoughts you want to share?
No, I really appreciate the conversation, and maybe we pick this up another time whenever you have some time. So I'm happy to discuss this more. But yeah, our proposals are under the Paideia name, P-A-I-D-E-I-A. You can see it up there in the corner. And Fareed, I think you'll link it as well. So we'd really appreciate your support. We're hoping to bring this to the Cardano ecosystem, and thank you for listening, giving me a chance to speak.
It's a pleasure. I definitely look forward to following up with you here. And for the ladies and gentlemen watching, definitely make sure to check out our prior interviews to discussing the Paideia DAO. That said, Marty, thank you again for jumping on. I appreciate your patience. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thanks so much. Take care.
Of course. All right, we've got Sebastian coming back up. Before he comes back up here, RNG, unfortunately, I did not get anything from the LQ team, so they will not be joining us here. I am happy to discuss any future proposals that they have with us in future marathon live streams, but we were not able to get in contact with the Liquid team. Same thing applies to the Wanchain team. They were supposed to join us. Unfortunately, they were not able to do so. They had some personal matters that popped up. So again, I look forward to extending the same opportunity for funding round number 13. And thank you for tuning in and listening in RNG. All right, we're going to be closing out here momentarily, but before we do, I've got Sebastian back up here for one last pitch here. Again, we are listening, but over to you, Sebastian.
Thank you for having me back up. I know I can get pretty into it and pretty passionate, and time definitely kind of flies through there. Especially even just the recent topic you guys were just talking about. It's closing in on 5 a.m. for me, but it's got my my brain and my mind really ticking over because it's a passionate topic for me as well. And I do think one of the little comments I made in relation to nuanced reputation systems and reputation-based elements, I think would be potentially brought into things when it comes to like a well fleshed out system for it. But so I know you're
No, you're good. No, you're good. You're good. I wasn't sure if you finished your thought or not. No, I like the piece that you mentioned about the fines earlier. I think when it comes to governance, there's so many different things to talk about, but one of them is voter participation. And again, I think with governance and Cardano specifically, there's going to be so many tools available. If people don't understand what's available, then they're kind of hindering themselves, right? So I'm trying to think as a creator, how can I educate my community? But then from just an end user perspective, like they have to, like I can put as much content as I want, but if people aren't watching or listening, they're just not, they're not gonna move forward on that. So for me, it's been a really tricky topic to address, but we really need to come to some sort of solution when it comes to voter participation and voter incentivization. Now, I don't want to derail our conversation. I do want to give an opportunity to pitch the very final project here as we get ready to wrap up. So again, back over to you.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll just go through it. It'll only take this one, I imagine, a couple of minutes. It's actually tied in intrinsically with the upcoming Cardano summit in Dubai. So essentially, what we're proposing is a side event by Smart Places called Building Bridges, a Cardano summit side event there in Dubai. So whilst it's, as I said earlier, a bit more simple than our other proposal, we believe its impact can be pretty significant because it directly hones in on an important area of growth that Cardano at times kind of lags on, and that's the bridge between Cardano and the broader, Web3 world in terms of marketing. And it's been a consistent theme for what I've been talking about tonight, and the proposals is really just helping to have things, funnily enough, catalyzed when it comes to Cardano and marketing to those who, whether they've heard about it or not, but helping them to hear about the reality of Cardano rather than what gets pushed by those who are arguably financially incentivized to spread information that we wouldn't otherwise hear if you're directly involved in the community. But for ours, the actual event itself, as the name suggests, will be done by providing a conduit and direct path for communication between the thriving and passionate community that we already have and the already existing world of enterprises and industry. With total requested funds at 100,000 ADA, the event itself would be split pretty specifically between an initial reception, a panel discussion, and then keynotes presentation in the form of speakers. And then following that, you have networking where there's food, finger food, drinks, and music, with the ability for those within the community who are attending the summit, and then those who are in Dubai and via our network, having been leveraged, attend the event in order to really take a deeper look into Cardano and what it has to offer.
That's awesome. Would it be for free, or is it, would it be an additional paid event?
I believe it would be an additional paid event. That's I will just have to say believe, and that's my apologies there. But from memory, it would be an additional paid event.
Got it. Yeah, no, that's awesome. I'm not sure if there's anything else that you wanted to add to that, but I'll definitely be in Dubai. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in relation to kind of basic additions there, one of our co-founders has successfully run a business out of Dubai for 5 years until exiting recently. When I say recently, may have been in kind of recent years, and that pre-existing network is very much still there and operational. And with the scope of the event that we've got planned, without funding, we wouldn't continue with the kind of the same plan. So there are aspects of it that before we know the results of voting, we won't go ahead and make those calls or invite specific speakers. But the idea is we would aim to kind of touch on quite a few different industries, including people who've been kind of intrinsic for quite some time in the New York Stock Exchange, people who are working very significantly within logistics, finance, real estate, and another big one, especially for Cardano, the supply chain, and individuals in kind of tech companies and procurement, as well as having people who are big names within blockchain actually speaking. So it's not just us getting a whole bunch of people who may not be involved in blockchain coming and speaking, but those individuals being able to hear other individuals who are involved in blockchain, maybe not specifically Cardano, but have them as speakers also.
Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, that's awesome. Just maybe some closing thoughts here on my end. I recently attended Consensus, and shout out to Cash here, who's tuned in from Ada Anvil. We just had Raul and the Nuvola team talking about your guys' collaboration for the collateralization hub. So maybe we get you up here next time, Cash. But thanks for dropping in. To your point, Sebastian, about the event, I just attended Consensus not too long ago in Austin, Texas, and there was obviously like the main area, but there was also breakout sessions which were done at like nearby centers. And what I loved about that is like they were specific to a particular niche. So at the event, I mean, there's thousands of people there, so it's a little hard to connect with the crowd that you're like really interested in. But for example, taking a look at dpin, there was a breakout session where they basically had an entire like area, right, just for dpin based projects and dpin based conversations, where they actually brought an expert to discuss just that topic. So for anybody who's building there, for example, like World Mobile, like that's the area that they hung out at for the entire 2 or 3 days at Consensus. They weren't really too focused on the main floor because again, you're just kind of bombarded with so many different things that didn't necessarily provide value or interest you, right? But the opposite was true for the breakout sessions, just focusing on dpin, where they were able to, number one, connect with other builders that are in the same space, but the number two, pitch their projects to people that actually wanted to listen about dpin. So having sessions like this, or a sort of a side event like this, I think provides additional benefits, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how things turn out if you guys are funded.
Yeah, thank you for that. And yeah, I'm with you when it comes to kind of the relevancy of the individuals who might fall within the broader room. And I think that's kind of one of the key points we'd be aiming for, is that with people representing different industries and companies there, people will listen to the entire panel, but when it comes time for the kind of the free-flowing networking element afterwards, they would be more than likely to hone in and hopefully get a few minutes with somebody that they feel they could make a genuine connection with, whether that's something within their own personal network or goals, or if it's stretched to perhaps Cardano more broadly, or just a project that they're working on within a team.
Yeah, no, you hit it right on the money there. As I am getting ready to shut things down here, Sebastian, if you're able to share the link to that proposal in the live chat or in the private chat, I'll go ahead and get that out to the viewers. But I think that will do it here. I need some lunch. It's been a long, long day for me so far. Literally woke up, went straight to stream, and I've been here since three and almost 3.5 hours now. So this has been an interesting session, and I just want to again thank you for staying up. I mean, you joined here at like 2 a.m. in the morning, and you're now going at 5 o'clock in the morning, and we're still here talking crypto. So hopefully the ladies and gentlemen that are still here with us have found some value between the Smart Places conversation and the pitch that you mentioned earlier, and then this Cardano side event, which will be taking place in Dubai if funded. That said, Sebastian, again, I want to thank you so much, and I wish you a wonderful rest of your day if you are able to get back to bed and get some rest.
Yeah, well, yeah, fingers crossed there. It's been an absolute pleasure and nice to meet you, Fareed.
Likewise.
I think, as I kind of touched on, the event is definitely dependent on funding, but if unfunded, we would still be looking to hopefully run something more niche and more private, but it would be more centered around the pre-existing Smart Places ecosystem pioneers and individuals who we're partnered with.
Ah, nice. So a nice little exclusive for the Smart Places community. So Jacob, I see you're still here in the comments. Definitely maybe something that will interest you if you are planning to attend in Dubai. I will definitely be there. I hope to hopefully get to shake and meet you over there, Sebastian.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed. Well, shout out to the CEOs when they rewatch this. Get me over there. No,
for sure. No, I appreciate it. That said, I think that will do it here. We've gone through, I think, over like 15 or 20 different guests here for today's stream, which was one of the bigger ones. But I thank you for being our closeout guest here, Sebastian. Again, wishing you well for the time being.
Thank you, Fareed.
All righty. Take care for now. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot thank you all enough. If you were here with us through the entire stream, it means the world. Jacob, Andre, Just Jim, Cash, all of you guys, Dee Dee, I mean, I can't name everybody, but I'm extremely, extremely thankful. This was the first time doing any sort of marathon stream. Again, I've definitely made a couple of notes about what I can do to improve, and look forward to being able to provide even more value in the streams that follow. I've tried to leave as many links as possible within the live chat, so please make sure to check those out. Make sure to show some support. And I think that's going to be it. So I hope you guys have all had a wonderful 4th of July. Hopefully you guys are able to get some time away from your work, spend some time with your families. I know I definitely have, and I look forward to enjoying some more time with my family over the course of the weekend. That said, again, if you guys find value as a part of today's stream, please make sure to smash that thumbs up. It really does make a huge difference here. If it's your first time stopping by Dapp Central and you want more, consider subscribing. And yeah, I just appreciate all of the wonderful comments here coming in at the very end. That said, ladies and gentlemen, wishing you all the best. Take care for now. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you all in the next one. Cheers, everybody. Goodbye.